others. Speaking after presiding over the swearing-in ceremony, Chief Justice Martha Koome called on the panel to ensure the process is fair and transparent.
Given our country's electoral history, you have the enormous responsibility of ensuring that the process that you are going to embrace accounts to national unity and gives us stability, bearing in mind the enormous responsibilities that have been placed upon you for us to get us an impartial, an independent, a professional commission.
After being sworn in, the 7 will be responsible for the selection of a new IBC chairman to replace Wafula Chebukati, whose term of office ended in January, alongside Commissioners Abde Guliye and Boya Molu. Last year, November, the President announced that the positions were vacant. Other commissioners appointed will fill in the positions of former Commissioner Irene Masit, who was removed from office this Wednesday, and her colleagues Juliana Cherera, Justice Nyangaya, and Francis Wenderi, who resigned. The conversation on health services being reverted back to the national government have been revisited. Doctors now claim that since the services were handed over to county governments, they faced various challenges such as lack of resources at the county level. Linda Ugatuzi's social organization, who agree with doctors, say that the county governments have proved their incapability in handling health matters. KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela says the country's quality of health services has deteriorated and failed to meet WHO standards.
The civil society, Linda Ugatuzi and PHM, together with associations and the unions, are going to embark on making the public understand why they need a doctor, why they need a nurse, why they need drugs in those facilities. It is come to our understanding that we need to have an objective direction, that even the governors understand that they cannot run healthcare anymore, and we need Health Service Commission for it.
The scam, says Linda Ugatuzi, has begun the collection of 7 million signatures from Kenyans in order to amend the clause in the constitution that allows county governments to handle matters related to health services. Led by Professor Fred Odola, they've encouraged Kenyans to support the initiative in order to improve health services in the country.
Take back healthcare to national government under national government unless they meet the minimum conditions that are required. Because counties don't have resources to pay doctors, they have no enough revenue to pay doctors. I urge you Kenyans to also help us to collect the signatures required to amend the constitution.
96% of grade 7 students have joined Awali Junior High School despite learning activities at various schools in the country failing to kick off. Education CS Ezekiel Mashogu says the ministry expects 100% of the students to join various schools in the near future in order to achieve the government's efforts. Mashogu has released the statistics 1 month after the students opened school for first term.
We expect 100% transition from grade 6 to grade 7. And I'm happy to report to Kenyans that in junior secondary, we are now at 96%.
During his visit to Kisii County, Mashogu has also reiterated that they have agreed with education stakeholders that the government will pay 15,000 shillings for each grade 7 student. He has promised that the funds will be released as soon as the registration of grade 7 students across schools is complete.
That money will be disbursed anytime now, because what we were waiting for was the exact figure and the enrollment as per each and every school.
That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
If you go out of this country and come back the same person, then you have a problem. Buy land, 1 million. Put it there for 5 years. What's the purpose?
It'll have increased in value.
No, that's the thing. That's darkness. That's an eclipse. You don't do that.
I hope you don't believe that a hustler is a poor person, or that all hustlers are poor. I've seen that conversation.
Tell us, who is a hustler?
Who's a hustler? Hustler is a person who is making a living through hard work.
Corruption in Kenya is a political accusation. The people who are actually corrupt are not pointed fingers at.
Kenya is not free. Kenya imeshikwa na mateka. It's under siege.
Have you seen that lodge on Nyeri Road? Very high fence. You can't even
Windows
sleep inside.
up near the ceiling.
Yes. And if you walk that midnight, you see bats the size of cows.
And when it rains, it doesn't rain on that building.
Yes.
When you're at All Saints and it's raining, it doesn't rain on that building.
The things people will believe.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Have you seen the... Am I live?
Yes, it's a very nice outfit, I must say. Good
Thank
job.
you. Asante sana.
The compliment is well received.
Good morning and thank you. Evan Wasingishu was asking me what channel is SpiceFM.
96.7. Tell them that, right?
Yes, now they know.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have
What
you.
a beautiful studio, my friend.
I've been to other radio stations, but I've never seen anything like this.
Thank you, and it's very nice to be in a modern studio. Absolutely brilliant.
And I have to say, it's a very cool ambiance here in your radio room. Just for our listeners, I think it is below zero in this room here. Very Swiss temperatures.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God. The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No.
It's about shipping out.
You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a ship or a ship goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's a land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, watu wamenirusha.
good morning. Welcome to Friday. What does it look like on these Nairobi streets? A little bit of traffic here and there coming off Mombasa Road. So we've seen that the lower road, they started working on it here and there, and that was early this morning. We're likely to see that will continue through at least about 7 o'clock. So it's likely to cause some traffic this morning. You want to watch out for that. All right, what's coming off Thika Superhighway? A little bit of traffic as well. But nothing at crazy proportions just yet. Friday morning is not looking too bad from this side of things, but we know that that's going to pick up later. How about we take a look and see later? SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us there and let's keep things moving this Friday.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your...
to Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Testing. Bless you.
Bless you, darling.
1, 2, 3.
Toka mbali. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Kenda kanisa. Hallelujah.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Something wrong with you. Halle, what?
Testing.
1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Testing. Hey, it's cold in here. Why am I sneezing? Ndu, mambo.
Poa sana. Vipi? Bless you, man. You're sneezing up a storm. My eyes are also watering. What's up? There's something inside this place.
Hey, wanafanya nini studio, Ednah? What has happened?
Okay.
Siti, salimia wananchi watakatifu.
Wananchi watukufu, hamjambo. Tunawatakia heri siku ya leo na tunaomba kwamba Mwenyezi Mungu atawabariki nyote. Na yale yote ambao mmeomba yatajibiwa na mtafanikiwa. Na mwe na siku njema.
Okay. Those things that you said, yes?
Repeat. Say the same thing.
All right, I will. Have a nice day.
Welcome to the conversation, everybody. Happy Friday, third day of the third month of 2023.
332023.
030323.
I take it.
3323s.
Okay, so.
Haya, nikwambie ile kitu ta discuss leo.
Yes.
Wacha mimi kuambia wewe. Ruben Dolo is the chairman of the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. And he's a known politician in Nairobi. He'll be joining us at 7 a.m. to talk about the state of boxing in the country. Can the sweet science rediscover its glory days? Can it? Can it not? He comes at 7. 8 o'clock. Let's talk about this whole issue of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, spouse of the Prime Secretary, and the creation of that office and others. Are senior government officials legally empowered to create offices for their spouses? Okay. Did Musalia Mudavadi create an office for his spouse, or did the state create an office for the spouse of the
spouse of the office of the spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary? Yay.
Yes. The leader of the Third Way Alliance, Dr. Ekuru Okot, will be here with us to talk about this and many other things at 8 o'clock. And then at 9, today is World Obesity Day.
Yes.
So let's talk about obesity then in the country and changing perspectives. We'll be joined by two people. Odawa Vivian Akinyi, she's a radiographer and champion for health living. And Stephen Tanui is a strategy and development manager, wellness for greatness, Kenya. Those two join us at 9 for that conversation. So. Has the Ministry of Health tried to think through its strategy?
Well, perhaps they have, but Madam Nakhumicha has not told us anything. So, the other things that seem to have taken the attention of the ministry and that front and center. But let's still look at COVID numbers. 680 million is where we are. Let's look at what the World Counter is telling us about Kenya again. So we use this as a reference point in terms of numbers that Kenya may or may not be seeing. And it appears that the numbers are still the same. And the last COVID case that has been reported, again, being the 19th of February. Okay? Latest news coming in, 7 new cases in Kenya. This is the world counter. So it's interesting that the Ministry of Health is not telling us this, but that information is then available and is picked up at the world counter. 7 new cases in Kenya. All of them are asymptomatic cases. Let's take a look at what's happening in Italy with COVID. Remember, Italy was one of the countries in Western Europe that took a hard hit. Remember, they were calling doctors out of retirement. There were patients who were essentially waiting in lobbies, out on streets, outside hospitals, waiting for admission. Italy suffered a huge hit when it came to COVID. Now, former Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte faces investigation over COVID response. Himself, as well as the ex-health minister and 17 others have been placed under investigation on suspicion of aggravated culpable epidemic and manslaughter. Miskia. Italian prosecutors have placed the former Prime Minister, the Foreign Health Minister Roberto Speranza, and 17 others under investigation on this suspicion and manslaughter in connection with the government's response at the start of the COVID pandemic. It was launched in Bergamo, the Lombardy province that was worst hit by the first wave of the virus, and it follows a preliminary inquiry that began in mid-2020 and was driven by relatives of COVID-19 victims. And when we say victims, not just those who were infected, but the many, many that died. Attilio Fontana, the recently re-elected president of Lombardy, and the region's former health councillor Giulio Galera have also been investigated, or rather are also being investigated, over the alleged failure by authorities to take adequate measures to prevent the spread of the virus by quarantining the towns of Alonso Lombardo and Nembro after outbreaks occurred here. We were looking at 6,000, in excess of 6,000 deaths during the first wave of the virus. Prosecutors say 4,000 may have been prevented had the areas been immediately quarantined. Remember, we also saw that the first case that traveled into Western Europe from China went directly to Italy. They were able to trace this, but nobody really did anything about it. Another crucial element of the investigation will be the alleged absence of an updated national pandemic plan, with the countries dating back to 2006. So they're not taking this lying down. They're saying that now, after the throes of COVID, let's start asking some questions. And if we find the answers that we're looking for, heads will roll.
Okay. Ni sawa, tumekusikia. Asante sana, tumekushukuru. Are you online? Because if you're online, we'd like you to go onto our social media pages, SpiceFM KE on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know where you are tuned in from this morning, where you are hearing us from. And then once we take a look at the weather forecast shortly, we will do what? Acknowledge your presence by reading all the messages on our social media handles. SpiceFM KE on Facebook, SpiceFM KE on Twitter, SpiceFM KE on YouTube. 18 after 6.
You think you can guess the year?
2007. That's when the theme song, that's when it premiered for the James Bond movies.
You're half correct. But in terms of guessing the year?
Okay, if not 2007, then 1963.
Oh, now you're just throwing things, eh? You're throwing the sufria and everything outside.
The Spice Drive. Big hair and the biggest hits from the best decade.
Tune in to the Spice Drive with me, Edward Quatch, 3 to 7 in the PM.
The Spice Drive, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Damn.
Mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi at 18. We'll see highs of 28 and lows of 16 through Friday. Partly cloudy at 15 in Nakuru, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 28 as well in the mostly clear Nyeri at 15. It's 12 degrees, 12 degrees and clear in Eldoret, highs of 26. And we'll see highs of 32 in a partly cloudy Mombasa, currently at 26. It's 26 and partly cloudy in Malindi, highs of 31 and lows of 26. It's partly cloudy at 20 in Kisumu, highs of 28 and lows of 19. We'll see highs of 28 in Kakamega, partly cloudy at 17. And looking into Kampala, light rain this morning at 18, with highs of 26 today. Partly cloudy conditions in Dar es Salaam, highs of 32 and lows of 27. It's mostly cloudy at 14 in Johannesburg, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 33 in a mostly cloudy Lagos at 28. It's 24 and cloudy in Kinshasa, highs of 33 and lows of 24. Looking into Beijing, it's 14 and sunny Friday, highs of 19 and lows of 0. 1 degree and mostly cloudy out in Paris, highs of 9 and lows of 0. And we'll see highs of 8 in a cloudy London at 4, coming down to lows of 3. It's mostly cloudy in New York Thursday night at 6 degrees, highs of 13 and lows of 1.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4.
Okay, it is 21 minutes after 6. Do like that.
It's Friday. Hadi Tamati, I say. 87 is well represented. Okay, Jonte, we see you. Good morning. Femi says Githogoro is well represented. Okay. Awiti says good morning. Good morning, Kenya. That's what Alex Jr. says. KE Zombie Media is a toxic facilitator. Why are you vexing like this early in the morning,
what?
Andrew? What is the problem?
Oh, it's a whole debate about
LGBTQ plus IJED.
And what the president and the former prime minister.
So now we are toxic facilitator. Andrew, see, you go back to bed, then you wake up, let's smile, and then start the day again. Negwe. Okay. Wanyonyi Tietie says, good morning, tuning from Western Kenya. Simon Odhiambo. Today, to see the job. Listening to the Situation Room. Okay. Colin says, good morning, have a happy weekend. You too, man. Moipe is tuning from Mwega in Nyeri County. Good morning to all Spice family. Robert Mbogo says, good morning. Okay, Andrew, now, it seems you're woken up properly on Facebook and not on Twitter. And he says, TGIF, not unless it rains. We are thanking God in everything. Abi? Atieno, good morning, Kenya. Welcome to Friday. Famous trio, Oyaore Uruduto. Sindio?
Good morning, all of you.
Thank you very much. Weekend Gemma Ednah.
Yeah, who y'all?
Shemeji Ndu. Tena.
Shemeji.
Professor DJ City.
Shemeji.
I may not be looking at you, but I've heard you.
You've heard me, Abi?
Yes.
See, mimi nimesema. Inasoma tu. Shoot the messenger. Janeth says good morning specifically to CT Muga, and it's followed by the shape of a heart. Umeona? Anaku
Anakulovlo. Anakulombotov.
James Kimanzi, you okay? Good to see you, man. Ondicho says he's tuning from Mwingi, and Simon Limo is here. McBride is here. Tukosite, have a wonderful day. Pauline says. Shallow Mukhalama is also here with us and says good morning. Buddha Wairia, the Buddha for milk, is in Roiro. Yawa Nyako Noke. I don't understand.
Sasa msichana, continue.
Yawa Nyako.
Noketho Wia.
Oketho Wia. Yani ameribu mimi kichwa.
Chai. Yawa Nyako Ketho Wia.
Anaribu mimi kichwa.
Yes, direct translation.
Yes.
You're spoiling their head. Tip aside, no disturbance of the head.
No, please. Good morning, everybody. Karibu sana, and thanks for joining us. Peter Wagongo says good morning. He's telling you that the city center is fine. Evans Yang is also tuning this morning to the situation where we can see all of you, all of you. We've seen you, Karibuni sana.
All of you all. City.
Yes, please.
Final day in Uganda.
This is the final day in Uganda. And the proverb is a simple, straightforward one. Simple.
Okay.
A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
My father used to say, you should actually go and influence the world. Don't let bad things influence you. Koba hakaba. I say hakane.
Hakane.
Thank you.
Shikini.
Shikenang is actually, you're right. Did you say Shikenang?
No.
Shikenang is Shikenang. That is it.
That's it.
She.
Shikena.
Shikena.
Yani bas.
Done.
Okay.
Shikenang. Kenang is it. Done.
Kenang is it. Right.
She.
Kenang. That's Hausa.
Period. All right. A foolish man should not
make you foolish.
Not
complicated. Straightforward.
Simple. Simple, straightforward. Karibuni sana, everybody. Let's take a look at the newspaper headlines. What's on the front pages? City, uko na zile vitu?
My dear man, yes, I most certainly do.
All right.
I want to receive from you.
All right, here we go.
Thank you very much.
Here we go. Why don't I start today?
Yes.
Right top corner of the Star. The Siasa pages. Fred Matiang'i, a pawn or a sacrificial lamb. Okay? That is Siasa. In the Star. Bang in the middle of the paper. Position. Presidents rule out support for same-sex relationships. The headline reads, "No place for gays, lesbians, while I am in charge, Ruto." So when he's not in charge...
Perhaps there could be a place.
But when he's in charge...
There is no place.
So if there's a place for them and he's in charge, then what does that mean? Because the Supreme Court ruling doesn't determine whether gay people exist or they don't. They have existed, they exist before and after the ruling. So what exactly are we saying? What is this headline saying? Okay. Terms homosexuality, same-sex marriage immoral and unconstitutional. This one is going to be interesting. On the left-hand side of the paper, former Communications Authority Director General Francis Wangusi is the paper's bull. Wangusi, get out of my way or I will tear through you. That is the headline on that one.
He unfortunately passed away.
Yes. Yes, he did. Kenyan woman wins 38 million for preserving national artifacts.
38 millions?
Kenyan shillings.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
China's square protests by big importers, joy for small traders. That's what we have in this town.
Okay. Let me tell you what's in the Business Daily. Safaricom location tracking to arrest bank ATM fraud. Do you understand?
No, I don't.
Safaricom is rolling out an ATM vicinity check technology that will help banks ensure that cash withdrawals can only be conducted if the transacting customer is within the vicinity of the ATM machine. Do you understand?
No.
That solution, which is to be offered to commercial banks for free, is aimed at arresting the rising cases of banking fraud where criminals use their victims' cards or information to withdraw funds from ATM points. Okay? So there are several ways in which criminals steal funds from the cash machines. I'll tell you about that story after we take the break. CBK in the spotlight as lenders run out of dollars. Commercial banks are running out of dollars in some days following a shortage of the US currency, making it difficult for manufacturers and general goods importers to meet their obligations. The CBK has directed banks to ration dollars following a shortage of the currency and the race to protect reserves. Okay. Kenya set for IMF funds quota raise on reforms. The IMF is set to raise Kenya's cash quota, giving it more headroom to access additional funding and boost dwindling foreign exchange reserves. At least, there's some light at the end of that tunnel. State is facing 12 billion shillings KQ debt pressure, where it's part of the loan that the government guaranteed Kenya Airways 6 years ago. Now Kenya Airways repay back, it's having problems now. The guarantor ako hapo sasa ndiye anakula shida. Private equity firm Kuramo Capital could raise its stake in TransCentury to 83% through the conversion of a shareholder loan to equity via the company's rights issue, which opens on March 20th. Tell us what's on the front pages of the other two papers.
Okay, front page of the Standard today. Not in Kenya, Ruto to same-sex unions. The quote was interesting, and I actually saw him when he said this. This can happen elsewhere, but it will not happen in Kenya. Let me assure our women that I will not allow other women to bring competition. If the men take all the men, where will you get husbands?
What? Hiyo ni swali nini?
Bana.
Swala nyeti hilo.
Ndio. I'll give you the information later, don't worry. Okay, sorry. Governor fails to explain how he spent 3 billion shillings. Not 3 million, not 300 million, 3 billion. And I'll tell you about that later. Okay. We're still talking about the win of Bolaji Tinubu in Nigeria's just concluded election. And it is now being analysed how the opposition split gave Tinubu the win. All right. Ruto MP set for power price war. A House committee yesterday threw out Kenya power bosses, accusing them of lacking tangible measures to reduce electricity costs, which the lawmakers blamed on exorbitant deals with the independent power producers run by cartels shielded by the utility firm. This even as the cabinet this week lifted the Uhuru-era ban on procurement of new IPPs. They're still telling us to tighten our belts. This belt is finished now. But they're saying the weatherman is saying that the rain may not be as heavy as you think it's going to be. So, tighten just a little bit more.
They're talking as though it's raining. Why? Let it rain and then give us this information. This thing, you're talking about something which doesn't exist.
Okay. This might irk you just a little bit. But 160,000 students, 160,000, let that sink in, are yet to report to grade 7 and Form 1. Miss Kia?
How many?
160,000.
160,000
yet to
report. There are reasons as to that, and I'll share that with you. It's the story on the back page of The Nation, and there are reasons as to why that may or may, why that may be. So that's what it looks like.
Sawa. Tuchukue break. 28 minutes to 7. This is the Situation Room, and you're thinking of coming into the country. So our friend George Taita from Germany will be traveling to the country in a few days. George, I hope you are thinking of coming to Kenya via Emirates business or first class. And he comes here to the studio on Wednesday. He'll tell us how he came. But I'm sure he'll be telling us how he flew Emirates business, how he was treated like a king, how they actually appreciated him. Told him, George, welcome.
Thank you for flying with us.
And thank you for flying with us. And then he gets to JKIA. They said, fungua your bag.
Wow.
Umebeba nini? Fly better with Emirates. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women, and only women guests.
If COVID could mutate and evolve 6 times over the last 2 years, how many versions of yourself have emerged in the last 2 years?
Do not, and you don't have to give anything to get ahead. All you have to do is give out and show out your talent.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m. on SpiceFM.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
This is one of the best ways to spend a Saturday.
Okay, so what are we looking at a few minutes to 7 o'clock? There's a pickup of traffic, but, from past, we see that it may not be so heavy. Right now, probably get heavier as we go ahead. Thika Superhighway starting to trickle in traffic. Your service lanes are not looking too bad, so there's an option for you to use. Coming out of Westlands, nothing much to report on that. Naivasha Road is looking pretty good. Gong Road also flowing very well into the city. We're looking at a little bit of a hold-up right around the Nyeri Stadium roundabout as you head out towards the city, out at Haile Selassie. There's a little bit of traffic as well on Jogo Road. It's going to take you out towards Kamkunji and then onto Haile Selassie without too much of an issue. So Friday is looking good, folks. Let's know what's going on where you are. We want to keep things moving this morning, and talk to us on SpiceFM, KE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
Route to same-sex unions. Leaders across the political divide unite in condemning the recent Supreme Court decision to allow members of the LGBTQI community form associations, saying it is a window to legalizing same-sex engagements that are against culture. And I'm going to read that quote for you again, CT, just in case you didn't get it. The president said yesterday, this was during the women's meeting in digital technology and finance something. I was held at the KICC yesterday. This can happen elsewhere, but it will not happen in Kenya. Let me assure our women that I will not allow other men to bring competition. If the men take all the men, where will you get husbands? He was speaking to a women's meeting, so he was assuring them that, don't worry, you will marry and you will marry men. Okay? He said, in spite of the court ruling, he will not allow LGBTQI. Even the newspaper has added the B for good measure.
LGBTQIB.
LGBTBI. I don't know what anyway, to form unions. He said that opposition leaders too says ruling is an abuse of the constitution. No, he didn't say that. The opposition leader also said that. So after months of reading from different scripts and trading accusations, yesterday, President William Ruto and Azimio leader Raila Odinga united in opposing a Supreme Court ruling that gave gay and lesbian communities the right to form an association. President Ruto has been at loggerheads with Raila, who has been criticizing his administration, has even planned demonstrations after a series of public rallies. But Thursday, things took a twist. I'm not sure that it took a twist, really. They just had the same thing to say about a particular matter. And Ruto took a stand over the debate alongside his deputy, Rigathi Gachagua, publicly. And they said the official registration of an association for LGBTQ will not happen in Kenya. Speaking during a Women's Day event where he was launching the second phase of the Hustler Fund at the KICC, Ruto said, although they promised to obey and respect the courts, that there was a caveat. Not on this ruling. We will hold on to our culture and traditions. We will not allow same-gender marriages. He said, we cannot go to the streets to demand that they all be allowed to marry. This cannot happen This can happen elsewhere, but it will not happen in Kenya. He says, I will not allow that. Although the president took a stand on the matter, he did not say the steps he would take towards following the ruling, throwing the ball to religious leaders to stand their ground and continue fighting for culture. And he said, I want to ask all our religious leaders to stand their ground and educate our children so that our culture will be emulated by future generations. So it was clear what, they said about that. There's also a picture on the front page of the Standard of Raila having met with Muslim imams at the Jaramogi Odinga Foundation in Nairobi. And the issues they discussed, amongst others, was this.
So same.
Yes.
This one is definitely bound to have some conversation, but the conversation will not last long. Trust me. With Kenya's news cycle.
In terms of
yeah. But of course, there is a lot of things that will be happening in the background. Many things will be happening in the background. I hope, we'll be able to track everything that's happening in the background. It is foreseeing this one. So let me tell you that story of the Safaricom story, yeah? So Safaricom says it has approached several banks and it wants to partner with them and sell them this technology. It's called the ATM vicinity check. So the way people steal through ATM. One is they steal from the ATMs by maybe cloning the cards. So they clone your ATM card and then they just go to ATM and blah. Our second one is where they trap the card in the machine for a bit longer. As they're doing that, they're harvesting your data and then they clone it. And then another way is where they steal your mobile phone and then they start doing M-Pesa withdrawals from ATM. Yeah? Now, Safaricom is saying we want to come up with this new technology. So this person who is the account holder has ID number blah 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 blah. This person who has ID number blah 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 has a registered line which has an M-Pesa and that has a registered line forget M-Pesa. And the registered line is this. So if I know that this is Eric, I can track Eric's movement and vicinity. Now I check this request to withdraw money at this ATM in Utawala. Does the phone that belongs to Eric ping around Utawala? If the phone that belongs to Eric is in Lugari and the ATM request is in Utawala, it declines. Because there's a likelihood that this is not Eric.
Wow.
That's
so
all.
At the ATM, there's something you key into your phone, as it were, to allow you withdraw cash.
No. It's just automatically tracking your vicinity.
Oh, right.
You see, you have your phone with you.
Yeah.
So as you're going with your phone, it's tracking because it's pinging to the nearest booster.
So even if you put the card in,
So
or
as
if
you-
somebody else who's keying in the card or whatever, and it's using your phone location, and it sees that you're not where the card is operating, it will refuse to give you money.
Yes.
Ah, voila.
It refuses to give you money. Because there's a disconnect between this person. We can see the mobile phone is several kilometers away from where the ATM card is. And normally ATM person, phone usually are together.
Same place.
You know, what if I have an ATM card that is specific for emergencies and the emergency occurs as emergencies do and I'm not there. I'm definitely not there. And someone goes to use the card because that's what it's intended for.
Give them the phone as well.
But
What if I've traveled?
I've traveled with my phone.
So you left the ATM card for
Yes.
emergency?
Yeah, because you're not going. That specific card is for emergency.
Specifically for emergency.
And it has
So
your
an
name
emergency
on it.
occurs as my name, it has my details, but I'm nowhere near that particular card at that particular point in time. I suspect they will have
something like that.
Yes, which tells you, confirm that this is you, blah, 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 blah.
They send you a message.
Yes, I suspect they will send a message.
It's like a two-step verification.
Exactly.
Once you key in, then you also put in, you get a one-time PIN as a message on your phone. And you also add that. Probably, let's see how they do, if they do it that way. City?
You know, I was looking at the headline of the Star. There's a bit that I left out.
Okay.
Because I wanted to talk about it. That's why I left it out.
Okay.
State House spends 4.8 million shillings daily on hospitality.
Daily?
Daily.
Every day. By the end of today, almost 5 million shillings will be spent
on hospitality.
To hospitalize who?
Madazi.
Okay. MDA spending for the past 3 months. Okay? Sawa sawa? Unataka kujua?
Yes.
Domestic travel, 3 billion. Foreign travel, 1.7 billion. Printing and advert, 561 million. Rent, 1.6 million. Training, 818 million. Hospitality, 1.8 billion. Vehicle maintenance, 366 million. Other assets maintenance, 267 million. Other economic items, 94.1 billion.
This is in how long?
3 months. Total, gross, 351 billion. Which
in how long?
3 months.
This is in all.
This is collectively.
It's collective.
What is MDA?
I want you to take 2 guesses because I've been taking 2 and I still haven't figured out what MDAs are. What? I mean, the fact that I read it doesn't mean I understand it. I'm just reading.
MDA as well. Reading the story.
That's MDA. Okay, sasa nyinyi
Mukitaka kujua. Endeni muulize
fanyeni Google search.
Wow.
Okay, MDA ni nini? Me have said. And I finished my story.
MDA. Agency.
What I found interesting though about this story is that the total that has been spent in 3 months is the sum total that is given to counties for a whole year.
Imagine.
And some counties have not received their money since I don't know when.
No.
For crying out loud.
Yes.
MDA.
Where? You know, it is very possible. It's a printing error.
Oh, really?
It's possible.
What, the MDA or the 300?
So you think it was meant to be what? FDA?
It was meant to be UDA.
Ooh, touche,
Hey. So tell us about that governor who could not spend 3 billion shillings or could not explain.
Or who did? It's not a small something, no. Okay.
No, you can't explain it. It means you
3 billion in 5 years.
Let me tell you a story.
Happy story,
Okay. Tana River Governor Dado Godana had a rough time explaining to the PAC how more than 3 billion shillings was spent by his administration without the necessary documentation to support it. It's got to put you in a bit of a pickle, isn't it? Senators Moses Kajwang Homa Bay, Samson Chirage Nandi, Danson Mungatana Tana River, Richard Onyanka Kisi, John Medhu Nyandarua, Edwin Sufuna Nairobi, Mwenda Gataya Tharakanithi, and Okeom Tata Busia put the governor to task. Godana, who appeared before the committee chaired by Senator Kajwang yesterday, did not have much to show for development for the past years since he's been in office. So look at this beautiful picture. Development on gay. Pesa eco. Documentation on gay. So, I mean, they're asking you these questions you're not able to answer. They said, okay, so maybe now we can tell us. They termed it a matter of grave concern to the residents of a hardship county. And we also know that the residents of this county have a hard time, whether it's education, whether it's water provision, whether it's, dilapidated roads. It is the same Tana River that we read that horrible story of somebody who was trying to leave and couldn't, and unfortunately passed because hospital problem.
Yep.
This was in the last administration. Okay? Now, he had previously served as a senior military officer and member of parliament. His presentation, according to Kajwang, failed to answer many questions. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission should interrogate the financial expenditure in Tana River County for the last 5 years, since there's a lot of discrepancies and angoa, with more than 3 billion not accounted for. Those found culpable should face the law. A report by the Auditor General for the financial year ended June 2019 pointed out the county had 1.7 billion in unaccounted funds for development projects, with the county executive allocating 1.9 billion for the implementation of development projects during the period. So, I mean, all this money just flying everywhere. Nothing has been done. It reached for the PAC to start asking questions, and then he didn't help matters because, he really didn't have anything substantial to give. But 3 billion shilling down the crapper, nothing to show for it in terms of documentation. And Moses Kajwang said the documents presented by the Tana River County government to this committee are a copy-paste of an audit query to answer another one. He didn't even try and be creative. So...
No, they're being unfair. That was him trying to be creative.
That was him trying to be creative.
Yes.
Somebody else in another capacity would have maybe done it a little bit better. Is what they're trying
you
to
must
say.
give the major his due. You can't say Did he not respond?
In his defense, he said he told the committee that he's yet to fully constitute his cabinet, and the county executive committee member who had accompanied him had it not been vetted despite discharging official duties. So I'm alone.
Even these guys have not been vetted yet.
If they had been here, they would have been able to. So just calm down. When we do all that...
Give me time.
I'll tell you. He said he blames his opponents for having moles in government who are sabotaging the good work that I am doing for the people of Tana River for the last 5 years. Don't mention that even this thing you said you're doing, we can't see it. Like, see it, where is it? No, we can't see it. But
so the Auditor General has raised
opponents.
questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Is the governor not allowed to stretch his imagination?
By all means.
So why...
He even copy-pasted another report for an answer to another query and used it to explain this one.
Harsh on the man?
No, it's
and why are moles burrowing and messing up
inside his administration?
He's cool. Okay.
He's cool.
Okay, so it's a good thing that the Public Accounts Committee of the Senate is summoning people and blah blah blah. The question is, and then what?
You didn't hear what they said?
After they've done all these things, what?
EACC will ask questions and they'll investigate. And you people have not done this and you've used money. They are recommending that the EACC comes in and vermeers everybody.
Believe me, if indeed this is what they're planning to do, hooray.
Hoorah.
There are other
governors, some former, who are facing similar situations. They should. They need to be able to tell their citizens, the people who voted for them in their counties, what they did with the money, their people's money. Because this thinking that when a governor is in place or has taken up the helm, the money that is given the county is his. It's not his money. They think it's theirs. It's not. That money belongs to the people of that county.
This is all talk shop.
Now, my friend.
All these things. So, the Kajwang Committee is summoning a governor today. They're looking at the Auditor General's report for the financial year ended June 2019.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Even COVID had not been born.
No.
This we are talking about now. Can you imagine how many governors are out of office?
Yes. Which means their work should be cut out for them. You see, my supposition is, if indeed what they're trying to do is to sort out a historical problem, because this is what it is, and that something will happen, as in we will see action being taken, then it's a good thing. But I believe the summation that you have arrived at is perhaps the correct one. If we were to look at the history of these matters, it's in the papers, it is talked about, and then it dies.
Just it. There's just, okay, so we talk. The most that this Public Accounts Committee can do is recommend investigations by an agency. It cannot even call for anything further than that. It can't say stop funding this county until it can't. So what's the point of having a Public Accounts Committee to look at the Auditor General's reports? And those Auditor General's reports are like 4 years old. What's the point?
Does it not occur to you as strange that Parliament is a lawmaking organ of the state? Should they then not also consider making laws that give them a little more teeth? Because beyond recommendations, I mean, they come and tell us, well, you know, this is all we can do. What do you mean this is all you can do? You are the people who make laws. Why don't you have more teeth? Or we can only recommend. Anyway, lady and gentlemen,
yes,
MDA, depending on what it is that you're dealing with, means multiple discriminant analysis. Now, on the one, that's on the one hand, it's a statistical technique. But with reference to what I mentioned earlier on, it means ministries, departments, and agencies.
Well, thank you for the first part of that explanation. It really, really did help.
I gonna lose nut somewhere.
Why do you assume it is loose? What if it's tight?
Too tight. Now, there's a gentleman called Ezekiel Machogu. He's a cabinet secretary for what?
Education.
For education. The ministry, he says, his ministry will construct 8,000 new labs in junior secondary schools.
Eric, please.
Read another story.
Yeah.
Please.
It's very important. This is a matter of national importance.
No, please.
They are going to spend 10 billion shillings to do 8,000 labs in the country, and this will cover 40% of what is required.
Okay.
The other 60%, ukona harambe, mfanyeni harambe mujenge.
So.
Each lab is going to cost at least 1.2 million shillings. What is in a lab? 1.2 million shillings is what? Is the structure plus putting in the things that are needed in that structure, which include what? The equipment. Zinatangwa zile binoculars za kuangalia microscope. You're about to say mercury.
I'm going to say magnifying glass.
Start with binoculars.
It's a binoculars.
Microscope. Inaitwa microscope. That's the same thing. Things which are far, it brings near. Yes.
So put in by those microscopes, put in chemistry things, Bunsen burner, put in pipette, burette, test tube, scalpel,
for cutting
sink,
frogs.
water,
for cutting frog.
Yes.
Running water. Not that you have
now.
sink and then you bring water in a bucket. Yes. Running water.
Wait now.
Bring in sulfuric acid,
8,000.
whatever acid.
8,000.
Yes.
Times 1.2 is 9-point-something billion.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
9.6 billion they have not yet sent to schools for grade 7 today. That's why we're saying you shouldn't read that story.
That was yesterday. That was 2 days ago.
Meanwhile, 160,000 students are yet to report to Form 1 and Grade 7.
Where are they?
What do you mean, where are they? They didn't have money to go to school. More than 160,000 learners have not reported for Form 1 and Grade 7, signaling the need for more efforts to attain the 100% transition policy, even as Education Cabinet Secretary Ezekiel Machogo expressed satisfaction at the rate of reporting. He said it's okay.
160,000 out of 2 million.
No problem.
If you think about it, it's 2%, less than 2%.
So no, it's okay. Okay. He said that the transition into JSS and Form 1 now stands at 96% and 91% respectively. So there's no problem. This is just a margin. It can be ignored. So he made an appeal to chiefs and their assistants to collaborate with the sub-county and county education officers to mop up learners who have not yet enrolled in Grade 7 or Form 1. Mop them up, bring them to school. He asked teachers to allow students, now listen carefully to what I'm about to say. He asked teachers to allow students who cannot afford new uniforms to remain in school with their old uniforms until their parents acquire the required set. We've made it very clear that uniforms should not be an issue, particularly in JSS. The same uniform they're using in Grade 6, it is the same that they shall continue to use until such a time the parents will be able to acquire for Grade 7. So stop disturbing us about that one. He also ruled out turning back on the CBC and reverting to the 844. So even that one that they said, no, it's not going to happen. We're just going to keep rumbling down this hill, and if we get there, we get there. He ruled out, so he was speaking when he now said this thing about the many labs that they're going to build. He said that the government has planned for capitation per student. They've dispatched textbooks. They've done menene. The money that they're supposed to send, they're going to send. He said that some schools are set to receive 1.24 million is coming. And he said that the schools which he knows don't have access to textbooks, that they were going to be distributed. And he said these big numbers, they like them all. Some 17,800,000 textbooks are set to be delivered. Meanwhile, we're in week 4 of schooling, but it's okay. The books are coming. He said they're going to send them and they're coming. He noted that he knows that they've been out of books in some subject areas, but don't worry, it's being worked on. So, all these things people are complaining about is happening.
So you do not want me to read a story about the future, and you're reading a story about the future?
I'm telling you about the thing that they're using to read now has not been done.
Eric,
they're in school now.
The reason why
mine is positive.
The reason why
we are going to build. You are saying they have not. There's negativity so early in the morning.
It's not.
It's a Friday.
It's not negativity. Eric.
It's reality, brother.
I'm not going to promote this because one, desks which were supposed to have been given were not. I mean, the things that were supposed to have been done which haven't been done are so many. Why can't we be told that even that 100% transition has taken place so that we start with something really positive? This story of big projects, big monies, all these things being spent in the future, it doesn't help.
But you people have been saying there is JSS and there are no labs. The question that you've asked is now being answered. We are constructing labs.
No, that question is not being answered.
We'll do 40% of the labs. And we are asking MPs, now you have some CDF, can you please also do labs? It's a combined effort.
We are being taken down a rabbit hole. This is my problem. You can't tell me you're going to solve the problem of the labs when you can't solve the problem of transition. You can't tell me that you are going to solve the problem of the
transition.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Leave your transition alone. You want to build labs. There are no books for the majority of JSS schools today. It's not me who said.
Yeah.
They are the ones who said.
But see, they're saying we are sending the books.
Now that's the point. You are sending the books.
We are sending the books. We'll build labs.
Money, 1.2.
We're hiring teachers.
1.4 million.
No.
We
are going to do it and then tell us we have built, then I will say thank you very much.
It starts with we shall and then we have.
No.
Good morning. It's 7 a.m. We shall hear the news.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Senators have urged the Ministry of Trade to have a structured engagement with investors so as to resolve the ongoing tiff between local and foreign investors that has led to the closure of China Square. A raging debate has been ongoing, with illicit reaction emerging after a Chinese trader rented a mall store along Thika Road that has received warm reception from customers. Led by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, the legislators insisted on the need to have a bias strategy in promoting foreign business, faulting Trade CS Moses Courier for the closure of the Chinese enterprise. 96% of grade 7 students have already joined junior secondary school despite learning activities at various institutions in the country failing to kick off. Education CS Ezekiel Mashogu says the ministry expects 100% of the students to join various schools in the near future in order to achieve the government's efforts. Mashogu has released the statistics 1 month after students opened school for the first time.
We expect 100% transition from grade 6 to grade 7. And I'm happy to report to Kenyans that in junior secondary, we are now at 96%.
During his visit to Kisii County, Mashogu also emphasized that they have agreed with education stakeholders that the government will pay 15,000 shillings for each grade 7 student. He has promised that the funds will be disbursed as soon as registration of grade 7 students across schools is completed.
That money will be disbursed anytime now, because what we were waiting for was the exact figure and the enrollment as per each and every school.
A Kapsabet court has granted police 14 days to continue holding a man suspected to have murdered his wife during Valentine's Day. Homicide detectives from Nandi DCI presented Zakaria Ngasura before the Kapsabet resident magistrate Irene Kabute, seeking more time to hold the suspect to enable them complete investigations. Ngasura wasn't required to take a plea as investigations are going on. He's suspected to have killed his wife in the wee hours of February 14th at their home in Kaprambu village, Chepkumia, Nandi Central. The deceased Rose Cherono is said to have been stabbed in the heart while asleep in the kitchen where she had been forced to spend the night by her husband. Just a few months after President William Ruto got into office, his plans to remain in power after the 2027 general election seem to be gaining momentum. His UDA party has now started plans to ensure that the affiliate of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance are dissolved and form a single party. Cleophas Malala is the new Secretary General of the party.
I shall be having a consultative agenda with our partners so that they can merge into the UDA party and form one big party. Our objective is to build a perpetual political party.
UDA now says it hopes to register more than 20 million members across the country, while plans to open offices in various locations are expected to start tomorrow. Malala has said that the first region where the biggest UDA office will be launched is in Kisumu County.
Kisumu is going to be painted yellow. We are going to come with gallons of paints, yellow, and brushes. Kama kuna rangi ingine Kisumu on Saturday, brace yourself for the event that you've never witnessed since inception of that city.
And in the international scene, more than half of the world's population will be classed as obese or overweight by 2035 if action is not taken. According to the World Obesity Federation, it warns that more than 4 billion people will be affected, with rates rising fastest among children. Low or middle income countries in Africa and Asia are expected to see the greatest rises. The report predicts the cost of obesity will amount to more than $4 trillion annually by 2035. The president of the federation, Professor Louise Bohr, described the report's findings as a clear warning to countries to act now or risk repercussions in the future. The report in particular highlights the rising rates of obesity among children and teenagers, with rates expected to double from 2020 levels among both boys and girls. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
Right around the Makadao train station is where we see some traffic coming into the city this morning, coming off of Jogo Road, heading out towards Landis and then into the city. We're looking at it starting to get heavy on Gong Road as well as coming out of Westlands. James Gishore is pretty busy right about now, and we're looking at it on Waiaki Way, busy as well. The Red Hill Link Road is not looking too bad. There's an option for you to get route out of what's going on in Westlands. And Limuru Road has also started to pack up. The Thika Superhighway, very busy from the KSMS junction there, as well as Kiambu Road. We're starting Friday morning traffic right about now. Let's keep an eye on things. SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
7 on the third day of the third month of 2023. Welcome to the second hour of The Situation Room. Those that are joining us on KTN Home, a very good morning to you. Happy Friday, wherever you're tuned in from. You're live on Spice FM as well, and YouTube and Facebook. Spice FM KE are our pages. This is the show that reminds you, if you want to fly better, fly Emirates, fly business, fly first class. We have a guest in the studio. He is a chairman of the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. Ruben Dolo is in the studio. Good morning.
Morning, Latif. How are you?
Karibu sana bana.
Thank you. Asante sana.
Huh?
Yes.
What color is that? Ndu. Now you're the color person. What color is Ruben's t-shirt?
Hot orange.
Hot orange.
Yeah.
Damu.
Karibu sana. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much.
You know,
good to see you as well after a long time.
Yes.
Good.
Siti.
Yes.
How don't you give the Mheshimiwa here a warm welcome with a proverb from Uganda?
Our proverbs the whole of this week have been from the country of Uganda, and today is our final day. And the proverb for this Friday is a simple, straightforward one. Mm-hmm. A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
Yes.
Ruben, what do you understand from what is this proverb saying?
Well, I think the land of Matoke, they came out for a long time that they make themselves the peel of Africa. And when, of course, City said about that proverb, to me, I go back and say, there's another one which you can compare with what that proverb Ugandans say. Fools can be there, but you can't make everybody a fool. So, to me, I think
you can fool some people sometime.
Yeah, but we don't need to be people who can be made come out to be seen. You are not on the right track all the time. Be a man of your own.
Kabisa. Stay on your own track
and earn respect.
Very good. Tell us about the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. What is it?
Kenya Professional Boxing, it started in 1982 late 1982. Why it started? Those ones who were there during that time, people like us, were the ones who started. And we brought in Joe Cage. By then, Joe Cage also retired in boxing. And he took us outside of this country. It was me and some of my cousins we went to Germany. And others, of course, went to Denmark, people like Mushoki. After the amateur, the Olympics in 1972, you know what happened in Munich, Germany. It was very sad, especially for us who are Kenyans. What happened with the Palestinians and Israelis, it was sad. So we had experience. So when we came back, we saw about what was happening in the professional side. Germany didn't have a professional. They had semi-professional. But the outside world, like Britain and States, and also Denmark, they had their professional side. So we thought that when we go back, our people who are senior by then didn't want we to be like the other people in States, because we are imitating what Ali were doing. They are earning a lot, respect and everything. But if you see, up to now, nobody knows about who won gold in the Olympics. But many people know about, let's say, Tyson, because he became professional. This is how we started. Then we came back and said, no, let us start our own professional side in Kenya. And then we talked with our friends in Tanzania. So we started, you can see, we have Kenya Professional Boxing Commission, then Tanzania Professional Boxing Commission, Uganda Professional Boxing Commission, because we were one. We were one. It was me and my cousin David Atan, who was still in Germany, Vitalis Bege, who was also our cousin, and Kina Odhiambo were in Uganda. So it was a family. And people in here also, there were Mushoki and Waroinge. It was people who were, of course, putting things together in boxing.
And all of them were boxers.
And all of them were boxers.
They were boxers.
Then we said, no, let us start professional boxing. We see how we can also be respected. It was hard with the seniors who were there by then. Who was there? Madoka. It was very difficult for us to proceed. But Joe Akech made us where we are right now, because he took some of us to German States, but then he was a manager of Panam. So we put him as a chairman. And we also put somebody who had the resources by then. He's now, I think, you have heard about him, Francis Mburu. You remember Mburu? Who was, of course, with these issues with Kinamatiang and everybody.
And all, yes.
So Mburu was our patron.
So he was the patron?
Yeah, patron.
Okay.
And then that's how then we started. Who did we put first? The late Modesto Punyi with this guy from Tanzania, who's now the president of Tanzania, Ngowi. Big fight at KCC. Packed. Everybody was there. Then things changed, and that's how it started.
So now professionalizing boxing basically is where people come to fight for a title and you make money out of it.
Perfect.
And the difference between this and amateur boxing is?
Amateur is amateur. I mean, the grassroots. You don't fight for, you fight for, let's say, for your country.
For glory.
For glory, and you represent your country up to the standard of going to the Olympics. Then after that, you can decide to turn professional. And also, you don't go more than 4 rounds. Yeah, but you can remember at that time professional, people used to go even 20 rounds. And then it, of course, of the, your health is more important.
Yes.
So the rules changed. So they went up to 15 rounds. Then again, I think by then we went for a convention in New York in '89. As I've said, Joe Akech was our chairman. And then they changed again to 12 rounds. Now, this is how it is. Yeah, you go for 12 rounds. The amateur people go for 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
Yeah, that's the difference. But a job is a job, mind you. A job is a job. There's no difference between a professional job and an amateur
job.
Yeah, it's how you can job it.
And who makes the money at the end of it.
Of course.
So is there any other body that organizes professional boxing competition in the country, or is it only the preserve of the commission?
No, the constitution of our country, you can't have two bodies running the same type of sports. So we have only one. That's Kenya Professional Boxing from the beginning. So we can't have two. So they have amateur, yes,
and then now there's
yes.
professional.
Now
boxing.
I think they've changed to BFK. I think so.
Boxing Federation of Kenya.
Boxing Federation.
As now the Professional Boxing Commission, what exactly do you do? Do you start from grassroots level, identifying potential talent, nurturing that talent, recruiting them to become professional directly, or do you have to wait for amateurs who feel they want to become professionals?
Very good question, Latif. Yes, we don't go to the grassroots. We leave it to the amateur people. Because for them, you go for 4 rounds, then after that you qualify to become a professional, or you just retire. It depends on what you are, how reconditioned you are. So for us, we work together with the amateur young boxers, and then we make them a turn professional. The issue here is we have a problem with our boxers turning professional because we in Africa, we don't have the resources, and we don't have the TV, the radios in South Africa, what they're doing, or the United Kingdom. So we try our best to convince them, and we look for companies. Like recently, just 3 weeks ago, there is this company, Phoenix. We made sure that they contracted our senior boxer. His name is Okwiri, to take care of Okwiri and also to promote him. So that's what we are doing. We are planning now. That's what we are doing. Also to make them, they get a good manager. Because in professional, you need to have a good trainer, a professional one, good manager, so that you can be a professional. You make sure that that's your life. And it's not like when we are there, we ourselves, we are doing what we are supposed to do.
How would you, if you gave an outlook on the boxing fraternity situation, the sport in general, and how it affected or how it contributed to Kenya's general outlook 20 years ago, and what it looks like today, how would you compare the two?
The professional?
Yes, the profession.
Because I can't talk about the amateur, because I left amateur.
No.
You want me to talk about amateur as well?
I mean, let's look across board. And we're looking at it as a sport that essentially could raise the profile of the country internationally, could provide possible engagement for people here in the country, and also then could provide career objectives for people who are going into sport. What does it look like? What are the challenges? Are we saying that where we've reached with boxing as a sport in Kenya is the summit, or could more be done?
Good. How old are you?
Oh, wow.
She is young.
She's young, yes.
She's youthful.
Very good question she put it. Very youthful. Now, let me tell you something. The 60s, let's say from the late 50s up to the 60s and late 70s, amateur boxing was very, very, progressive in our country. In Africa, I think we were number 2. If you compare, it was Kenya, Uganda, Ghana. We were competing with only, in the Commonwealth, we were competing with maybe, you can say, Ireland, not even England. Because when we used to go for the, let's say, Commonwealth, I mean, we used to smash those British like hell. So we were in Africa, we were number 2 or number 3. We used to compete, as I'm saying, with people like Ghana, then Uganda. That's why you see those years. We used to get medals, go to the Olympics. Our first medal was in Mexico, Waruinge. Then, 1972, 2 medals. Now you compare the best, even up to now, is a record in Africa. When we took our young guy, Wangila, from my estate, we used to train him, to South Korea. We were the first country in Africa to have gold. Now, up to now, it's a record. Then it went down. And I'll tell you something. There's a lot of politics in sports than politics itself.
Yep.
Then politics came in. Because boxing became number 2 after football. So things changed, and politicians came in, made sure that what is this? These footballers, we need to change it. They were supposed to bring Africa, I don't know, football, whatever, here in Kenya. If you can remember, people like the late Ojobo Mino, and his secretary was Omingo. I don't know who's that in football. They wanted to bring Africa, whatever
Federation
here, and then it was just we didn't hear anything about that. Then in boxing as well, people used to be, enrolled in parastate organizations. Poster, they used to have, a
boxing unit. So you are employed.
Kenya Brewers, you are being employed. Then you earn something, and you participate. It was very good. Then after that, things went down. Everything went down.
You're saying politics.
Politics changed everything. Changed,
why would
in this country changed even in boxing. Yeah.
So are you saying there was no ownership then of those who were involved in the sport, the practitioners of the sport, that something like politics would come in and sweep everything over and everybody was left with nothing, but these are the folks who are actually in the ring, as it were?
Well, the owners of what you are saying, the owners of all these, parastate organization, were people who are not interested in football and boxing. So, to me, I'll be frank. They were just interested in athletics, and this is what killed football and killed boxing. And this is what is happening even up to now. They don't care about. They just talk about sisi ni watu hustlers, but they're not hustlers. They don't care about the really original hustlers. So they kill the original hustlers to pretend, which is not right. That's why you see when you ask them about what happened, up to now, it's difficult. Every sport has gone down, not only boxing, because politics came in. And believe me, don't mix politics and sports. Sports bring people together. But if you just bring politics and sports, you are killing it.
But Mheshimiwa, there are those who argue, maybe one doesn't hear of much politics in boxing. One hears of the business angle, especially the professional aspects of boxing. But sports has its own politics. Maybe we are saying that people who are politically inclined or commercially inclined and not the people who were in the profession taking place in leadership came in and took over. Because if you look at, for instance, you mentioned the Commonwealth. Up until 1998, you look at Kenyans' performances. We were winning golds and silvers. Then after that, we're just in the bronze bracket. So you have to wonder what happened. And maybe what you're saying is true. Now, what am I getting? And I'm getting at this. I'm saying, if I look at sports in totality in this country, and I look at the money associated with it, let's talk about athletics. Let's talk about football. Let's talk about motorsports. There are world bodies that keep giving money to these organizations. Now, are we saying that those who then find themselves in a position of management, or those who are at the helm of the leadership in all these sports, that we are seeing a shift from an interest in the sport itself to the individuals who are actually there? Because if indeed the focus was on the sports people, then we would see the sport rather growing more and more and more.
Well, very good, City. I agree with you. But, things change every day. Everything now is professional. Why I'm saying that? Before, as we started this Kenya Professional Boxing Commission, we didn't have, let's say, I can put this way, I'm sorry to say that, athletics, they used not go and run for money. Can you remember?
Yes.
But now, they are the ones who earn a lot of money than even boxing, or even in tennis, or even even football. So things changed, and this is how also we need to do in this country. We need to try and see if we don't depend on only one type of sport in this nation. We need to diverse. We need to make sure we bring every sports to be known. That's why when we go to the Commonwealth or we go to the Olympics, you see we have only medals from one sport. The rest is nothing. Why should we do that?
Can I ask a question, Mheshimiwa?
Yes, please.
At the amateur level, would I be correct in assuming that the government has a role? Because we have an entire ministry that deals with sports, that the progression of the sport at some level should be the responsibility of the government, because the government allocates money to that ministry, the government allocates money for the growth of the sport. So would one be correct in saying that at the amateur level the government plays a role?
Very much.
Yes.
Very much.
Yes.
And what you have said is exactly what I'm trying to put it. Remember what happened in the Olympics of 2016? What happened?
Rio.
People went to court. Because of what?
Well, there were a lot of allegations of corruption
and mismanagement of, event funds. Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is it. And we have to look at the government looks down upon sports. Because they don't care. They bring people who are not even know anything about sports. They just put somebody there because of politics. Who doesn't even know anything about athletics or anything about football or anything about tennis. Just because they want to cover something there, they bring anybody from anywhere. Just a figure.
Who should be? And this is, I think, a pertinent question, because we look at the sports associations around the country, whether you're dealing with, FKF, whether you're dealing with, KBF, whether you're dealing with KAA, across board. Who should sit in these positions? We've seen countries the world over who have then leapt from one level to the next purely because of their sports and their activities and how those things have been organized. We can see that. We know that. There's some countries you wouldn't hear anything about their foreign policy or their diplomacy. You would hear about their sports before you hear anything about the rest. But it is enough for them to actually get onto the global stage. We've seen this. What needs to happen? And I think there's a question that has been asked over and over again. You're saying that they just put anybody in those positions. Who needs to be there? what needs to happen. It's boxing, it's basketball, it's rugby, it's across board. What actually needs to happen from your perspective?
Good. I mean, you need to put somebody who has gone through, who has got a pinch of what happened in sports, who has got experience, who has gone through, who has, let's say, a knowledge of sports. But don't just get somebody from his or her bed in the morning because of her face, and then you bring her there or he there and say you are going to be the Minister of Sports. He doesn't know anything about, or she doesn't know nothing about what sports is all about. This is sad. Look at what is happening in Europe. All those leadership are people who went through sports. In South Africa, the same. That's why they're a bit better than us. Even nowadays in Nigeria, they are doing better than us. They put people who have gone through sports. We see it.
Put people where? As minister?
In administration.
Let's take a break. It's 29 minutes to 8. I know, City, you are just about to ask a question. Our guest in the studio this morning is the chairman of the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission, Ruben Dolo. We are talking about the sport of boxing and whether we are likely to head back to the glory days of boxing. Also, not just concentrating on boxing, but looking at sports in general. And he says, look, we need to think about the leadership of sports in general in the country. We'll ask him more questions about that. Ruben, you've flown to many parts of the world, of course, and I know you've flown Emirates, right?
Very good.
Now, there is Emirates first class, there's Emirates business. Which of those have you? Have you done business or first class?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Tell us about first class. Your experience
Emirates,
with first class. Yes.
In fact, they gave me that. I'm still the director of the Commonwealth. In May, we are having our AGM in UK. And also, as a director of the Commonwealth, we have been invited. I think they're going also to, this inauguration of the King. That's what I saw it.
The coronation.
The coronation, sorry. And they give us business class, flying from here to UK. So I normally go with Emirates. Yeah.
How's the experience?
The experience is good. Emirates, they are good. That's all these years now. From, let's say, how many years now I've been flying Emirates? About 8 years. Yes.
8 years.
About 8 years.
You are Emirates Damu.
Yeah, Emirates Damu.
Very good.
Yeah.
If you think of flying, think flying Emirates. Fly better with Emirates. Think flying business, flying first class. Good morning. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The man who looks at a beautiful girl and doesn't talk to her will end up serving lunch at her wedding.
City, do like that.
My father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man?
Ameua panya.
Small mammal, big mammal.
Mtu atamshinda.
What are they saying? How are we comparison? I mean, you kill a mouse.
What are they saying?
What they're saying is, my father has killed a mouse. Will he fail to kill a man? Name, surprise. Someone's name.
The name surprised you?
No, the name is surprise.
No, what am I saying? I'm from Nigeria, man. I met somebody called I Believe. So your name is I Believe? Yes, my name is I Believe. But that's the short form. I said, excuse me? I said, yes, my name is I Believe. So what's the full name? I believe in the goodness of the
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Sunny conditions at 18 in Nairobi, highs of 28 and lows of 16. It's 15 and clear in Nakuru, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 28 as well. In a sunny Nyeri at 15. It's 12 and clear in Eldoret, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 32 in Mombasa, where it's sunny at 26. Malindi is sunny at 26 as well, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 28 in Kisumu, where it's cloudy at 20. 17 and clear in Kakamega, highs of 28 and lows of 15, and it's a rainy morning in Kampala at 18 with highs of 26. We'll see highs of 32 in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 27, and it's 15 and cloudy in Johannesburg, highs of 24 and lows of 14. Lagos is cloudy at 27 with highs of 33, and mostly cloudy conditions at 24 in Kinshasa, going to highs of 33.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so we are looking at heavy traffic coming on Gong Road into the city, and Langata Road as well is piling up all the way from Magadi Road today, spilling over towards Langata Road, just past, all of this Multimedia University out towards the Wilson Airport is also starting to build up. Jogo Road, some traffic here and there as you're coming off from Manyanja, then connecting with Jogo Road. Outer Ring is also looking pretty busy right about now. It's not too bad on the Thika Superhighway, but we're looking at it heavy coming out from KCA out towards the Pangani underpass. And today's the day where Kiambu Road is not doing too poorly. Some traffic just approaching DCI, but not further than that, at least not for now. We're getting into traffic hour. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter, and let's keep things moving this morning.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
News with Ruben Dolo, Chairman, the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. We're talking about professionalizing and bringing boxing back to its glory days. Mheshimiwa, you talked about very many things that have happened in the sport. So in the early days, boxing was actually doing very well, both amateur, and then you brought in the Professional Boxing Commission, and you started, being able to send boxers to participate in tournaments and championships where they would make money and win the belts. And then you've even said politics started creeping into the sport, and it also crept into football. But if you look at athletics, it's the one where our athletes are actually still making money. And you cannot compare how many of our athletes are making money to any of the other sports. Not in hockey, not rugby, not football, definitely not boxing. But then what happened? How is it that it's possible for athletes to be able to be in the same country, under the same government and administration, and they're able to make money, but not the same for boxing, not the same for the other sports? And I want to put it to you that it's because of the management of the various federations, that the leadership, like Siti was saying earlier, the leadership is not focused on growing and developing the sport. The leadership is more focused on grabbing the money that comes from outside into the federations. So I want to keep it there. Athletes are able to go out, participate in championships, and then they get invited into the money-making events. They go into Olympics, they go into Commonwealth, they go into the World Athletics Championships. From there, from winning a bronze or silver or gold, you are then invited into the Diamond League. You're invited into the other areas where you start now making money. They do make money. Why can't you, as a federation that's been here since the early 80s, do the same for our boxers?
Yes, Latif. Thank you. Yes, in fact, why I said that the government looked down upon sports, and that's they were just concentrating on athletics, because I'll go back again. It's politics. They didn't care about. They wanted to please the leadership, which was there at that time. If you look at really what happened, in 87, in Kenya, when we had the Africa Games here, in boxing we won about 8 gold medals. What happened after that? Things went down. They didn't care. After that, we tried on how we can convince the leadership by then. They were telling us, no.
What is the leadership? You mean
the leadership,
the president,
which was there, the leadership which was there, in, let's say, even in boxing, was from the, what I can say, the police forces, the army. So all these wanted to please the leadership of the government of the day. You see? And of course the government of the day by then were very, very much interested in athletics and not other sports. On my side, that's what on my side, that's what I looked at.
How do you make this? Because if we hosted the Africa Championships here, and we had very many boxers in 1987 who were winning.
We won 8 gold medals.
There you go.
Yes.
The same political leadership of the day had been there for 9 years. So when did their mind change? And what they made their mind shift from promoting boxers
because when we
to promoting athletes more?
Yeah, because when we told them about now, if we have won 8 medals, and if we can change this one and make sure we promote our young boxers, have academies, bring people, and some of them started, I remember they even put academies in Nakuru, but that was only football. And other places. They put how many academies? About 2 or 3. One in Nakuru, one in Eldoret, and I think another one was put in here in Nairobi, somewhere in Ngong. Only that. And then when we said now, why don't we also make sure all these boxers who are there can turn professional, and we change the standard of our boxing in this country. You know what they told us? We are not going to allow the boxers who are in amateur, they have to stay in amateur. We had to make sure we brought somebody from states who came and said, no, when Wangila won gold, we brought somebody, top ranks from states. And of course, we said, no, it can't happen. This one, where is he going to go? If he has won gold, which amateur again is he?
What else is he fighting for?
What is he fighting for? You cannot just put somebody there to be an amateur, and just because you are the captain or you are the brigadier, and you feel that he's going to earn more money than you, and then you because he's junior, and then you don't care about his life. So we took Wangila, we brought somebody who was the manager of Top Rank in Las Vegas. Then we took Wangila to Las Vegas, and that's when now we started again.
Mheshimiwa, can I ask you this question? My mind has gone back to the period of the 60s and 70s, and I'm looking at the places where most of our boxers came from. It was Eastlands. But were there not very many boxing clubs then? The social halls.
All the social halls.
Yes. I mean, boxing was a sport that attracted very many young people. I mean, football also did, but we're talking about boxing now. So there was a wealth of talent that grew up during that era. And then when people like you were boxing, Joe Akech, and then when Ruinge came in, Mushoki came in, you see, because of the fame and the wins, boxing now became a thing that people could see was something that one could get into. Now, the goals that we speak of
arose from that very beginning. There was this wealth of talent that was grown over period. I'm still stuck on this issue of the role of government. It was a thriving sport. There were young people in it. Then it just dipped.
Let me ask the question, City.
Yes.
And became
so
churches.
we have all these things. The social halls were active.
They were very active.
And you had all these, boxing clubs.
Yes.
In each estate had a boxing club. And
Yes, and there was competition even among
and there was
them.
competition.
Yes.
Was the government involved?
That's the point. You've understood it perfectly.
Very good. Very good. I like the way he had put it. And all those halls he's talking about right now became churches.
And kiosks.
And kiosks. Can you believe it? Oh, we tried our best. Even when I went to Parliament, I did my best to make sure that all those halls go back to where it used to be during our days. But we were told, you cannot do anything. These halls now need to make money.
Who was saying? I mean,
well, who was saying?
Who
was saying?
You are in government.
Who was saying? We
after the Kanu years, you were in parliament.
Yeah.
In the new vibrant years of NAC and multi-party and. Who is this who was saying, we cannot do that? Because initially you were saying the Kanu regime then was, trying to curtail the development of these other sports and trying only to promote athletics. Was it the same thing through the 90s into the 2000s?
Well, I can't say only the Kanu government, but the people who are put there. Go back to what I said, Latif. The people who are put there, they were not interested in any other type of sports. They wanted to please the leadership of the government of the day. That's why they were using those halls, make them churches. Don't care about, boxers. Don't care about badminton. Because I remember in the morning, sometimes in our estate in Jericho, in that hall of ours, if the boxing was on this side of Lumumba, the one down there at our place, we used to have badminton and other sports. They all went dead. You see, because of what? Those people, when we used to go to the administration, they tell us, no, we have to repair these halls. There's no money, but it belongs to the government. So you are being told, you people, you have to bring changa, bring money, make sure that you repair that hall. Not us. We don't have the money. After that, they were now taken by people from the church.
Okay.
And all those halls now go back to those places. You'll find churches inside and not sports.
Can you paint a picture for us of how this sport, it doesn't matter which sport it is, but let's focus on boxing, how the sport then actually changed the lives of those who were involved in them? Somebody who takes up the sport of boxing and is supported by the community, and what now it was able to do for young sports people in the community, and then paint a picture of how that changed when these social halls shut down, when the support was no longer there. What did the sport actually do for people when it was vibrant and active?
Yes, sometimes people like us, we feel like crying. We have two sides of what you have put it. Some of my colleagues who are there, legends, became blind. I'm going back. Some of them, now I'm not with them because of the frustrations. I remember, as I've told you, in those sides of ours, let's say in Sid has put it, in Eastlands, We used to be one. Because our parents came from Western with OTC. We didn't come by bicycle or walking, by OTC. Came down this way. And then our parents stayed in the estates. We were depending on them. They brought us. What we used to know is all about sports, or ours was about boxing. Because you have to be tough to stay in those areas. After that, we became and represent this country. Frustrated, nothing. I remember one of my cousin, he used to be known as Moi, the Black Bomber. He became blind. He used to walk around in the streets, blind. And he won gold for Africa Championship in 1976 in Algeria. He went blind and died. Another, also relative of mine, he died just recently, 10 years ago. He became an African champion in Uganda. James Omondi, Dimosh, also died. There was no help. So it's only a few of us who you can see now. I'm here. I became an MP. Because I didn't want to make, let's say, politics as something that you are there to be proud of. Because it's a bond. And that's why I said you have to come and become yourself. Many people, what you put it, many of our boxers suffered. Even we recruited another young girl who became very popular, Congestina. He used to play football. She used to play football. And then in Makongeni, I've seen another old man here from Makongeni. I don't know, he's from the education side.
Akelo Misori.
Akelo Misori from Makongeni. Yeah, you know, he was from Makongeni those years. So that girl was from Makongeni, Makolandas. Then we brought her into boxing because we saw her, the talent that she had. But what happened again? She became popular, represents the country, became a world champion. Just like that, it went
professional.
down.
She went professional?
Yeah, professional.
Yes.
Just like that.
So why did her professional career not take off?
Well, I think when she went to States, she was being mismanaged by other Americans. I can say it was part of the managers which she had misused her, and that's what happened. We tried our best.
Could the commission have helped?
We did our best. That's why we brought her back. But then she made a lot of money. Then it went down. Now the frustration, the frustration of what happened. Now she always think about what she made. When she thinks about boxing, you can see because we know what happened. Her mind now changes. Anything when she goes back, her mind changes. You see, so this is what I'm saying. There are good things what happened in boxing, but very few.
What I'm trying to go towards here is look at if you can actually pinpoint the huge differences that this sport made in the lives of young people, in the lives of sportsmen and women, in the lives of community, then it would be a clear indication that those in the positions which you say should be responsible for this, which CT is saying there is responsibility of government to nurture some of these things, then it should then point to work that then must be done in these areas. If it is clear that the benefits far outweigh anything else, then it is obviously something that should be revived, that the work towards the revival of some of these sports, like you say, that have been, tossed out the window, then should be quite deliberate to be able to bring them back.
Yeah, but we also, I can't blame the government all the time. It's also about, you yourself. as a sports person.
Yes.
It's not only in boxing, but we have seen not only in Africa, even in Europe. You can remember our footballer, very famous during our days. I'm sorry to go back. What city is talking? We are going back. George Best. Some of you, if you remember, was a famous footballer from Manchester United. George the Best. Until he was called the Best. George Best. What happened to him? He became a street guy. So it's sometimes how you can manage yourself, how you can be serious on what and careful. The rest is the government can help, but it's from the grassroots. And then the government can help from the grassroots, put you at the right track, and then manage yourself. The good and the bad can come if you don't have discipline.
So it's about discipline.
Yes.
And then I see a role then here that the Professional Boxing Commission would play, because you tap talent that's already been developed from the amateur side.
Good.
You see the ones that are developing, the ones that are participating in various tournaments and events, and then you go and tap them and bring them onto the professional side, which means that now you're introducing professionalism and all those other aspects, discipline. They already have the discipline as well going up in amateur, but now you're bringing in management, you're bringing in marketing, you're bringing in all these other aspects. I'm struggling to look back, Ruben, at the very many boxers that we see going for Olympics and for Commonwealth and hearing their names when it comes to professional side. And I wonder, is it your commission that's not doing the most that it should be doing?
No, ours, it's because when they turn professional, and that's why I'm saying we get a lot of difficulties to make them turn professional. Because most of these who go to the Olympics or Commonwealth are the ones who are in, I can say, civil servants. The ones from the armed forces, from the police, prisons. So the leadership on that side don't want to allow them to turn professional. Why? Because if they turn professional, they will the leadership there will be seen they are doing nothing. So for them again to tap talent from the grassroots, it takes time. So they want to make sure that guy stays there until he's.
So they don't want to let them go.
Until they don't let them go. Look at what happened to this young boy, Nick Okoth. Now he's 47, and still they want to make him fight.
If somebody becomes professional,
can you imagine?
Do they have to leave amateur?
Yes.
That's the rule.
That's the rule.
Unlike athletics, where you are
no.
professional and you can still...
No, they have to leave amateur. So they don't allow them to turn professional until their 50s. It's a fact. Look at what Nick. Look at the others. That's until we ourselves at that time, we said no. We had to get out of this country and left for Germany as a family of 3. When we came back in 1972 from the Olympics, we said no. Our elder brother, David Atan, told us, and another cousin of ours who's now back home, Mohammed Abdallah Kent, we left here, 3 of us, and one was in Uganda, our cousin as well, Bege. So all of us, we went to Germany. So we were told, if you come back, we'll punish you. We said, we are not coming back. Kaini. We stayed in Germany for 6 years.
And made your money.
Yeah, and made our money. And my friend, Latif, those days, we used to make money in German, Deutschmark. When we come here, the only hotel was Hilton. Brava.
The glory days. The glory days. Hope we can get back there. Ruben, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll keep inviting you so we can see, these are conversations that ought to happen. Because there are people who are young men and women who are growing up, who are watching boxing and they'd like to go into this game. But of course, everybody else looks at them and sees what happens? How do I make my money? Ruben Dolo, chairman of the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. We've been talking about Kenya's glory days in boxing and what we need to do to take it back there. Keep it here for more conversations. A very good morning to you, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life.
The news at the top of the hour on Vibes Radio.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga. The University of Nairobi, which is shouldering a 12 billion debt, has resorted to freezing the hiring of new staff and has already cut more than 200 programs. Nairobi University VC Stephen Kiama says they are, however, battling to restore the lost glory of the university. He has also lamented that low fees and insufficient budgetary allocations from the government has mainly contributed to the current crisis. Professor Kiama, who is a member of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, has also revealed plans to review the university placement and help lending criteria. The conversation on health services being reverted back to the national government have been revisited. Doctors now claim that since the services were handed over to county governments, they faced various challenges such as lack of resources at the county level. Linda Ogatuzi's social organization, who agree with doctors, say that the county governments have proved their incapability in handling matters of health. KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela, on his part, says the country's quality of health services has gone down and failed to meet WHO standards.
The civil society, Linda Ugatuzi and PHM, together with the associations and the unions, are going to embark on making the public understand why they need a doctor, why they need a nurse, why they need drugs in those facilities. It is come to our understanding that we need to have an objective direction, that even the governors understand that they cannot run healthcare anymore, and we need Health Service Commission for it.
This comes as Linda Ogatuzi has begun the collection of 7 million signatures from Kenyans in order to amend the clause in the constitution that allows county governments to handle matters related to health services. Led by Professor Fred Odola, they've encouraged Kenyans to support the initiative in order to improve health services.
Take back healthcare to national government under national government unless they meet the minimum conditions that are required, because counties don't have resources to pay doctors. They have no enough revenue to pay doctors. I urge you Kenyans to also help us to collect the signatures required to amend the constitution.
A family in Luanda constituency, Vihiga County, is calling on police officers to help them find their 2-month-old baby who was allegedly kidnapped last Saturday. The family claims that their son was stolen by a woman whom they hosted after she claimed not to have money to get her to Busia, where she was heading to. The mother says she had gone out to look for food only to find that the woman had disappeared with her baby.
Aliambia ametoka Siaya, sasa nimeishia kwa barabara na nafaa ende Busia saa 100. Mimi nikamwambia karibu, nikarudi kwa jikoni kupika. Nikaongeza hapo tu maji kwa sufuria ili pia apate kaugali ya kule. Nikafululiza kwenda kuleta omenala ya lunch. Sasa nikaenda, nimejua tu nimeacha mtu mzuri kwa nyumba. Nikarudi nikapata mtoto wangu alikuwa ameenda kucheza mkubwa miaka 5. Kurudi nikapata wanacheza hapa. Nikaambia Dani, wewe acha kupiga kelele, mtoto analala utamwamsha. Yeye akaniambia ma, mtoto hayuko. Nikamwambia mtoto ameenda wapi? Mimi sijui. Kili yangu ikapiga tu kwa kiti bagi hiyo msichana.
And moving on, a 38-year-old woman has died on the spot after she was electrocuted in a village in Nyeri County. Area Deputy Chief Richard Ndeki says his colleague Masi Nyamoko was passing by the road near the house of a resident who'd illegally connected his house to electricity. Chief Ondieki has said that the deceased slipped and accidentally touched the live wires, resulting in her death. Her body was moved to Nyamira County Hospital mortuary awaiting a post-mortem. And in the international scene, a disgraced South Carolina lawyer has been found guilty of murdering his wife and son to distract them from his multi-million-dollar financial crimes. The jury deliberated for less than 3 hours before finding Alex Madoff, 54, guilty of 2 counts of murder at the end of a 6-week trial. He faces 30 years to life in prison without parole for each murder charge. Maggie and Paul Madoff were shot at close range near the dog kennels on their family estate on June 2021. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, not looking too bad on Jogger Road this morning. We're looking at a little bit of traffic coming off of Gong Road. Friday tends to not be too crazy in terms of traffic. A little bit here and there on the Thika Superhighway coming into the city, and the service lanes are looking pretty good. So that's what folks are using now to avoid getting stuck. The Northern Bypass has a little bit of a hold up, but not too bad. The chokehold on Kiambu Road is not showing this morning. A little bit coming out of Kitisuru going towards United Nations Avenue and blah, blah, blah. So the blah, blah, blah is actually not too bad today. Let's keep an eye on things. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us there as we keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
6 after 8, good morning. The conversations continue in The Situation Room. We're here until 10 a.m. Happy Friday, 3rd day of March 2023. Thank you for keeping locked on Spice FM, online and on KTN Home. C.T. Muga, the day's proverb.
This is our final proverb from the country of Uganda.
Okay.
A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
Yes.
He should not rub off on you. Okay. Now, this is assuming that because you're not foolish, you'd be able to identify a foolish person.
You know what I was thinking? I was reading this. What if you are the one who's the foolish person? So I'm just saying
you're done.
That if you come across another foolish person now, your foolishness will be amplified.
Can't double or triple your foolishness.
Yes.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely. No way. Okay. So we have been having a conversation about the state of the nation, the state of the country. We had hoped to have Dr. Ekuru Okot joining us to talk about that. Unfortunately, he says he has an urgent matter to attend to. These wakilis have that excuse. I have court.
And the matters are always urgent, are they not?
Urgent court matter to attend to. Urgent court matter. So it's all right. We move nonetheless. You walk at two, Nini. Hiya, guys. There was a report that was released by Infotrack earlier this week.
Yes.
Right? And it was talking about, they've done some survey and asking Kenyans, it's like the barometer of the nation. What do you think? Are you optimistic? Do you feel that the country is headed in the right direction? Or do you feel it's not headed in the right direction? What were the results? What did the people say?
Well, 62% of Kenyans feel that the country is headed in the wrong direction. The reasons for the right direction, 22% have said that there is peace in the country. 16% have said that Kenyans are living in harmony. The executive, and this is the ministries and the president, are working well, according to 16%. The cost of living is affordable, according to 10%. Now, remember, these percentages that we're giving are of the samples that were taken.
Yeah.
Okay? And so then what a survey like this does is that it makes it representative of the entire population based on the numbers that were approached and the answers that they gave. All right, so always good to keep that in mind. 8% believed that the economy is doing well and is growing. And so these are all the reasons as to why they're giving to the fact that the country is going in the right direction. Education has improved according to 5%. The president is a God-fearing person according to 5%. Devolution has made a difference according to 4%. My candidate is in power according to 4%. People are paying taxes now compared to previous regime according to 3%. And at 2%, healthcare has improved, the country has good infrastructure, and others, whatever others are, all included in 2% as well. Now, the reasons for the wrong direction, which an overwhelming 62% of those then polled say, high cost of living made up for 73% of the reason why it's going in the wrong direction. 5%, high taxes imposed to people on unemployment. 4%, poor governance, country was not led well. 3%, bad politics, poverty. And then 1%, drought, rampant corruption, poor quality of education, lack of cohesion in the country, unequal distribution of resources and jobs, and increased insecurity and crime. And then you had below 1%, which went to poor infrastructure, unresolved land and squatter issues, tribalism, wrong societal values, and others. So if you look at all of that, comprises this 62%, which have said they believe the country is heading, or rather Kenyans believe that the country is heading in the wrong direction. Okay? Now, overwhelmingly at 72%, the issue that has come to the fore is the high cost of living. Okay.
It's actually quite interesting if you look at the breakdown of these statistics. So of the 62% of those who are optimistic or who are pessimistic or feeling that the country is headed in the wrong direction, a very, very, very big majority have only one reason: high cost of living.
Yes.
At 77%. The others are at less than 2% even, the other issues. So it's mainly for one reason. Why do you think the country is headed in the wrong direction? High cost of living. Those that say, well, yeah, I'm optimistic, the glass is half full, blah, 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 the 22%, they actually have various reasons, ranging from peace in the country, Kenyans are living in harmony, the government is working well, cost of living is affordable, the economy is doing okay, the president is a God-fearing person. All these, you can see 5%, 5%, 16%, 16%, 22%. It's a wider spread of the reasons why those that feel the country is going in the right direction, the reasons that they give, they have more than one reason why they think the country is heading in the right direction. Those that feel the country is heading in the right direction have one reason: cost of living.
Yeah.
It's a cost of living. Okay. What can we pick out of that, City?
Well, the responses that we talk about, the one which are represented by these percentages and data, have to do with the questions that they were asked. Now, the sample size is often an indication of the representation, because it's not just the number of people, the demographics of these people who are asked these questions. What do they represent? Like the one which caught my attention when 10% says that they could afford to live, isn't it? The converse of that is what is alarming. Because if only 10% say, yeah, we can make ends meet. So now the other 90%? However, the circumstances that have brought about the responses that we are talking about have to be given their due consideration. There are things this government is blamed for, things which are completely and totally outside their purview and control. The government has absolutely no control of the drought. The government has no control of what we call, what's this weather thing that keeps interfering with the climate change? Yes, I was looking for that particular word. Okay. They had no control of COVID. There are those who argue that COVID, all it did was unearth the rot that had been sitting there for the longest time, and it now came to the fore. Now, there are certain realities that this particular government is forced to grapple with. Now, are we to judge them by the things they say they're going to do, or are we to judge them by the ability to manage the situation that we now have? Not that they brought it about. It's the reality we have, and they're the ones who are in government, and we expect them to manage the situation on our behalf. Now, if you were to look at what's happening, I think a fair representation would be all things being equal when the inequality of them is what is the discussion, and counties get the monies that they should. What then should be our discussion? Yes, national government, president, deputy, and the people within who govern our ministries, yes, they're part of our discussion. Where do we fit in our county governments and what they're supposed to do for us? But significantly, in my mind, given the discussion we just had with one Mheshimiwa Ruben Dolo, what is beyond saying this is what our problem is? When the citizens of this country sit back, the question you ask is, what can you do? Because I'm saying, at the end of the day, if you complain that the government hasn't done something, and indeed they haven't, and yet you are supposed to live, what then do you do?
I'm looking at it also from coming to that question that you asked. If the high cost of living seems to be the highest determining factor of this unsatisfactory position that Kenyans have taken, then if you look at the other side of it, that if Kenyans were able to get a little bit more for the shilling, then they would not be as unsatisfied as they currently are. Because this whole myriad of other issues makes up a little bit of a percentage that stacks up to the big number. But the highest thing right now is because to live, to buy petrol, to put your vehicle, to put food on your table, to be able to afford transport, to be able to afford health and education is so high, people are uncomfortable. So if you knock off some shillings over some of those things, and then you have some more shilling left over even after you've done all those things, that we would not see the high levels, the high unsatisfactory levels that we are seeing today. So Kenyan's thing is, so long as you make life affordable for us, I'm almost hearing this being said, so long as you make life affordable for us, you can do whatever you want. As it really doesn't matter. If I'm able to put food on my table, if I'm able to send my children to school, if when in the unfortunate situation that I am sick and that I go to hospital, then I'm able to afford the medical treatment that I need. So long as I can take my goods from farm to market, not on a dilapidated road, some of these things, then more or less I'm all right. These other things don't seem to bother people as much. Because if it was not, if this poll were to be taken seriously, we would not see the high cost of living taking up such a large chunk that it does right now. So people are basically telling you, you know what? Make life affordable for us. And then, we're not really concerned about these other things. Infrastructure, what are some of those other things that they talked about? I'm not really concerned about that. But if I can do that, I'm ready to do my thing. I'll pay my taxes, I'll do what I need to do. But can it just be affordable across board? And then I'm all right. That's what I hear Kenyans saying.
It's because basically there's one pain point.
Yeah.
Even those that are saying that the country is heading in the wrong direction, it's not about poor governance, it's not about insecurity, it's not about, climate, it's high cost of living. The one thing that is preoccupying Kenyans, according to this survey, when 62% say they feel the country is heading in the wrong direction, it's because I can't afford to live. I just can't afford it. So there's only one thing preoccupying the minds of Kenyans. And like you asked, CT, so those that are in positions of authority, those are in positions that are supposed to do something to create a conducive environment for Kenyans to feel all right, so we can get by this. Even just managing that situation, not making it cheap immediately, but managing the situation and the journey towards that. What ought they to do? And this is not just about the president. It's also to the 47 governors.
Absolutely.
It's also to the 345 members of the National Assembly, to the 67 members of the Senate, to the 1,115 members of the county. No, they're close to 2,000 members of the county assemblies. All of them, wholesale. What is the one thing that Kenyans are telling you? The one thing that they are saying is my number one pain point, cost of living.
I can't afford to live.
Yes.
Exactly.
So all the other conversations that you keep having, these are things, we shall do the other. We shall know these people are doing this, these people are doing that. Oh, the Supreme Court did this. That's not the point.
That is actually not the concern.
Meh.
even worse, that even if you did do those things that you said you were going to do about whatever, electoral reform, start taxing people who whatever, that it would not bear any kind of impact on the lives of Kenyans today. It wouldn't matter. If you did all those things and then you did not make some positive steps towards making sure that Kenyans had a little bit more on the table, a little bit more in the pocket, that it wouldn't matter. And I think if you don't look at it critically to say, hold on a minute, all these things that you're then busying yourself with, the people over whom you are governing, for them, it doesn't matter.
What does it tell you?
It should tell you a whole lot. And if it's not, then, honestly.
It tells you you are not in touch with the reality of your people.
Absolutely. That you're running around doing all kinds of things. And truth be told, in order to run around, you're spending a lot of time, resources, and resources includes money.
Supposedly on behalf of these people.
On behalf of the people, and it's not the pain point.
No, it isn't.
It is not. And Kenyans are giving you a way in here, and they're telling you, you know what? We're actually giving you a free pass. Just pass, go, collect the 200 is what they're telling you. But just make life a little bit cheaper for us, and you can actually go jolly well do whatever you want. That's basically what they're saying.
Do you know that has been the fundamental ethos of the wonderful people of this even more wonderful country of Kenya? Kenyans really don't want to be bothered by too many things.
No.
And by the time they're telling you, look, this is our problem, it behoves you to pay attention. Because ordinarily, if things enable them to go about their business as they want to, they don't hassle you. You've heard me say this before, that the politicians in this country, the president, I said this of President Uhuru and his government, I said, why don't you take notice? You have a wonderful people called Kenyans who have actually allowed you to just carry on your business. What they're asking of you are very few things. Can you make life affordable for us? Can our children go to school with ease? Can we get medical care when we need it? Can we go about the things that we want to do with ease? That's all we're asking you. Now, these are the things that you keep telling us. Okay, go ahead, but can you do these things for us? Now, the question then, is it really too much to ask? This same government is being asked the same thing. Can you please just ensure that we are able to do the following? Can you please do this for us? And yet, the response is, we will build you labs. Just in case you were wondering about this thing, and we're going to spend this amount of money. Now, in case you're thinking that this cost is a problem,
we're going to open up an office of the spouse of the Prime Secretary Cabinet.
We are putting up a gas plant, 20 billion shilling gas plant, okay? By the time they finish building that gas plant, this problem you're having of gas, saying, we've got you, we've understood all that. Our problem is actually right now. Children can't go to school. We can't eat. We actually can't manage our day-to-day living. Meaning just these ordinary things which are supposed to form the basis of our fundamental rights, they are nowhere in sight. Is it possible for you to pay attention and ensure that we get them? Simple enough request. Simple enough. But are these requests being heard? Because if I look at what is in the public space and what our leaders are telling us, they seem to have no clue. They don't seem to have heard what they're being told.
No, they don't. They don't. And we're talking about all of them. I actually want to completely focus on all people who are in positions of leadership. When Kenyans went to the ballot in August last year, they elected people in 6 positions. And they did not elect them also they can be sitting back and waiting for the one person who's been elected as a president to address everything. They were elected because they all campaigned and said, you know what, we can make sure that we represent you, we can make sure that we raise these issues, we can make sure that we participate in policy making and that addresses issues. We can, if we go to parliament, we shall have a budget that then addresses the issues and the pain point of the country. We shall engage with the executive, whether at the county or national level, to make sure that the issues that you bring to us are the ones that are being addressed. Those same people, if we start with the MPs, what do you hear MPs talking about today? They'll point fingers. They'll be talking about this side and the other side of parliament. They'll not be addressing the main things that Kenyans are talking about today. Those in the Senate, same thing. Those in the county assembly, something. Now let's go to the executive. Governors. Are governors actually talking about, are they meeting with people and projecting this message of this is what I am doing to address. I hear what you're saying about the cost of living. I hear what you're saying about your children, being able to feed your children. For example, if you look at those governors who have, rolled out their school feeding program.
They've rolled out the problem.
That Freudian slip is a very appropriate one. A school feeding problem, yes.
Sakaja Arthur Johnson promised the number one thing in his campaign was what? I'm going to feed all the children of Nairobi who are going to public school.
But the MP
for Dagoretti South, he had started this earlier.
She had started, yes.
And the Langata MP is also doing it. But the point is, when Sakaja is addressing people now, is he talking about, so I have been able to reach X percentage of children, I am working towards this, and this is where we shall be. Project that message and show us that we are heading in the right direction. I know the governor of Mombasa also launched a similar program in Mombasa. And it was the same thing. Those are the things that are paining people. So children are not going to school. Members of parliament are in parliament. What are you talking about when the children have not gone to school? In those counties where a majority of the 100 and something thousand children have not reported to school, why are they not reporting to school?
Exactly.
It's mainly because there's a problem. These kids were in school in grade 6 last year, in standard 8 last year. They have not gone into Form 1. They have not gone into junior secondary grade 7. Why? Are those the issues that we're talking about? So that pressure then moves up to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. So instead of him saying, the money, we were only working on a few things here now, the money shall be sent out very, very soon. JSS, the labs, you're going to start doing this and the other very, very soon, this and that. 6 months' time, everybody shall have gas in their home. This is for the president. But okay, how about today? What can you tell us about the today? When the stories about today are telling us that the MDAs,
ministries, departments, and agencies,
have spent how much in the last 6 months?
351 billion. Not 3 months, Chief.
In 3 months? 351 billion.
Yes.
In the last 3 months.
3 months.
Give us the breakdown. What and what and what?
All right. Domestic travel, meaning just hapa na pale
kutoka hapa Naivasha,
hapa Mombasa, Malindi.
And this is the national government. Ministries, departments, and agencies, and the national government.
Yes, 3 billion Kenya shillings, all right.
For domestic travel.
Yes.
In 3 months.
In 3 months.
$1 billion a month.
$1 billion.
20.
Okay, foreign travel, 1.7 billion.
Nice.
Just something like half that amount, more or less, just to travel abroad and then come back to Kenya. Travel abroad, come back to Kenya.
Okay.
Printing and advert, okay. 561 million. Don't ask me what this means. I'm merely reading what is in the paper. Okay. Rent. Okay.
For their offices.
The offices which are rented, 1.6 billion in the last 3 months. If you do the math, 16 divided by 3, you get the figure. Training, 818 million. Training. People needed to be trained. We assume they were trained, because 818 million was spent on training. All right. I assume that this training also has to do with those trips that people make to Naivasha and Mombasa and to discuss this and the other.
Capacity building,
etc. Hospitality, whatever that means, 1.8 billion Kenya shillings. Vehicle maintenance, 361 million. Meaning in the last 3 months, we've maintained these cars well, and we've maintained them to the tune of 366. Whole country, all ministries. So all the vehicles should be in perfect working order. Because this amount should have bought you very many vehicles if they were brand new. So I'm going to take the liberty of assuming some vehicles were also bought. I will take that liberty. Okay? Other assets maintenance, meaning there was a gas leak. Water pipe was not working properly. Ceiling was
Toilet was not flushing.
Yeah, painting, that sort of thing. All right? 267 million shillings. Other economic items. Now, this one is very important. You really need to understand this one, because this one, a lot of money was spent on this one here. 94.1 billion shillings.
Other economic items.
Yes, that's what it's written here. See, others, the things that I haven't said, which also happened. 94.1 billion shillings. You do 1 plus 1 plus 3 plus 4, 351 billion shillings. This is according to this article.
This is in 1 quarter.
1 quarter, that's the money we've spent. As you would say, Andu, boom.
Times 3, times 4.
1.2 trillion.
Or thereabouts.
Actually, a little bit more. About 1.35 trillion.
Guy.
Or thereabouts. Yes, that is correct.
So,
Clear it. Yeah.
All this is basically operations, right? This is operations. This is travel. Let's say that they were important. Okay, let's just assume they were important, that you needed to travel from meetings because, you're working on policy, so you bring in several people into a meeting room from various ministries, from various state departments, from various government agencies. We are working on policy on labor, or we are working on harmonizing this piece of legislation so we can draft a new piece of legislation that will go to parliament, because these are the things that they do. So we are working on reviewing the work that has been done so far in blah, blah, the impact of this. So this is why we have been meeting in Naivasha, we've been meeting in Nairobi, we've been meeting at Safari Park, we've been wherever. Let's assume that they were important. Even the international travel. Let's just say that, because of this and the other, our Minister for Trade has gone and he's gone to the delegation because the president is going to come to South Korea. So we've gone ahead and then the president has come to South Korea and we've had these meetings and these are the agreements that we've made, and we come back.
Even if all the ministries traveled at the same time, or everybody,
you said it's only 1.7
senators
on 1.7 billion.
Yes.
For foreign travel.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say it was important. Okay.
We have agreed.
The travel was important, not the number of people. The point I want to raise
travel
is,
if there are no people traveling.
The point I want to raise is, did we actually need to spend that much? Because the things that have been done, government needs to operate. They're important. But do we need to spend? Is that the least that we could have spent? If you look at 350 billion shillings that has been spent in 3 months, and then we say that the entire county devolution itself is getting a budget of 347 billion shillings for the entire year, and we can now look at them and say it matches. Do we really say it matches? Are we able to address the issues that we are addressing as a country? Can we really justify that? So when Kenyans say that our main pain point is cost of living, and then you see like the government is spending all this to live, you ask yourself, is the government alive to the fact that I need to live?
My head is aching.
Are we in the same frame of mind, government and I? Let's ask this question to our audience as well. What should our leaders address as the top priority today? What is it that our leaders should be addressing as our top priority? We'll pick your calls after we take this break to take a look at the traffic and the weather. Remember, fly better with Emirates because of why, Ndu?
Because the first class and business class experience is out of this world, literally in the skies, and you act as if you were in your home. Lie flat on the bed for the duration of your flight. Come down, have a drink with people at the bar. The A380, which is the air, the double decker, gives you an opportunity to be able to do this. Have a chat with friends up in the air, sleep, wake up refreshed, and get into your meetings when you land where you land, as though you never left.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen.
So now it's over?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It gets over
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes.
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here, because if it was a man, but this was a lady.
It will be called first lady.
19, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 28 as well. In a sunny Nakuru, it's 15 and sunny in Nyeri, highs of 28, and it'll go to highs of 26 in sunny Eldoret. All right, it's sunny at 26 26 in Mombasa, highs of 32, and it'll go to highs of 31 in Malindi, where the sun is up at 26. 21 and partly sunny in Kisumu, with highs of 28. We'll also see highs of 28 in a sunny Kakamega at 17. Light rain continues in Kampala, going to highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 32 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 27. It's 15 and sunny in Joburg, highs of 24 and lows of 14, and 27 and cloudy in Lagos, with highs of 33. We'll also see highs of 33 in a cloudy Kinshasa at 24. No, not today. Nope. Traffic's not too bad today, actually. It looks pretty good. Being able to go where you're going in no time. Thika Superhighway probably saying, you can't forget me on Friday, so let me just give you some traffic and then we'll figure it out later. Okay, fine. You'll get out of it without too much of an issue. The service lanes are working really well, so there's an option for you to use. Coming off of James Gishuru, also flowing free and smooth, not too much of an issue. Limuru Road is bumper to bumper. It's moving. It's slow, but it's moving. Let's keep an eye on things. Let's circle back about 9 o'clock and see what it looks like. Might be free by then. Started late, ended early, traffic out on a Friday. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
4 minutes to 9. This is the Situation Room. So according to a survey conducted by InfoTrack Research last week, between the 21st and the 24th of February, 62% of Kenyans feel that the country is heading in the wrong direction, 22% the right direction, 15% neither right nor wrong. Now, of all those that felt that the country is heading in the wrong direction, an overwhelming majority felt the main pain point, high cost of living at 73%. The others are 1%, 2%, 5%, because of taxes and employment 5%, poor governance 4%, bad politics 3%. Of those that felt that the country is heading in the right direction, that's the 22%, of them, there was a wider spread of the reasons why they feel optimistic. There is peace in the country, there is harmony, the executive is working well, the economy is doing okay, it's growing, education has improved, the president is a God-fearing person, devolution has made a difference, my candidate is in power, and there's a spread of, those respondents on that side. The question we are asking is, then if an overwhelming majority of the Kenyans who are polled feel that the country is heading in the wrong direction because of the high cost of living, should the leadership then also focus its attention on addressing this particular issue, the high cost of living? What should the leadership of the country be placing as top priority in the country? That's what we want to hear from you. 0719 012 600. That's 0719 012 600. Call in and let's have this conversation with you as well. Looking at that budget that we just talked about, 310 billion shillings going into operations for a quarter in the national government, 347 billion shillings sent to the counties for an entire year for devolution for all the counties. We are now at the point of having a conversation about the new division of revenue bill. The deputy president has met with the governors and they've been discussing this, and the Commission on Revenue Allocation has said for devolution to continue with the gains that it has made so far and for it to continue working, counties need at least 407 billion shillings in the next financial year. Governors have said, actually, we need 420 billion shillings for the next financial year. The national government, Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president, says, tunaweza afford 380.
Hata ukinifanyia what?
380. We have no more money. Even if you beat us, you stripped us naked, placed us at Uhuru Park and flogged us, we cannot get a single shilling above 308. Hii ndio bei ya mwisho, bei ya jioni, bei ya kufunga kazi, ya kumaliza bail. Now, This is what the national government is saying about the extra allocation that should go to devolution. 30 billion shillings extra. The national government wants to spend 400 billion shillings extra in the next financial year.
Yeah.
Let's take that 400 billion shillings and put 30 billion shillings into devolution. 400 minus 30?
It's 370.
370. Let's even say that some more money will go into, okay, let's start with that 370. What is the manifesto of the Kenya Kwanza administration? President William Ruto's manifesto is anchored on 5 pillars. In fact, we put a hand like this, right? Do it like this with me. These are the 5 of Ruto's manifestos. We start from the pinky finger. Number 1, agriculture. The president has said agriculture is the biggest driver and of multiply effect in an economy. I will focus on agriculture in our economy.
Yes.
It's the largest employer of people. It is the biggest catalyst, because if agriculture is working, then you can have what? You can have small scale industries in terms of value addition through the value chain. You have more people employed here. You have food security. You're addressing very many things if you address agriculture. Number 1, manifesto. Number 2, MSMEs. MSMEs are big because MSMEs are big employers as well in the country and across the entire value chain. If you support MSMEs, then you are making sure that people are able to afford life because they are employed. It will create employment. Number 2. Number 3, affordable housing. Affordable housing. If you make sure that people have affordable housing, it means that they are spending less of their income on housing, which means that they have more money to spend on other things, including saving. And if more people save, especially towards their retirement and all, then even as government, we'll be able to go to the pension schemes and get money to develop infrastructure and all affordably. Affordable housing will also employ people. Big. Number 4 is the thing that we call universal health coverage. With universal health coverage, it's the same thing, just like affordable housing. If people are not spending a lot of their income on healthcare, they have more income to spare. And if people are healthy, then they're able to do all these other things that we've talked about earlier. So those 4 are big, to be supported by the 5th one, which is a digital economy. We shall create a digital superhighway. We shall make sure that the entire country is connected, so the SMEs can actually even get into e-commerce. Agriculture can also use technology to get access to better. This is the manifesto of President William Ruto. Of this, agriculture fully devolved. Health fully devolved. SMEs is actually implemented by devolution. Sindio? Because devolution is the one that will create those sheds for the small traders. Devolution is the one that will create the markets for small traders. Devolution is the one that will be licensing the small traders. Devolution is the one that will be facilitating the small traders to do their thing. So 3 of the 5 are actually devolution. So the president's agenda, manifesto, is to be realized through devolution. 30 billion shillings extra is what the national government wants to send to devolution in the next financial year. Is there a connection?
Why don't you ask, is there a disconnection?
Huge.
Yes.
You'd expect that actually what you're talking about is this government making sure that more money goes to devolution, more money goes to agriculture, to devolution, so that agriculture, the number 1 pillar of this manifesto, is realized. More money goes to devolution so that healthcare is realized. More money goes to devolution so that MSMEs are supported. But no, we want to spend less than 400 billion shillings on devolution, and we want to spend 3.2 trillion shillings at the national level.
And that's the thing. And then you see that those are the things that you want to do, and you say that, well, we can't actually put more money at the counties. We can't put more, because from heaven to earth and in between, that's all we have. But then you see this expenditure. We know that the Auditor General's job is to report on some of these things. But you see this expenditure. You see this 351 billion shillings that was spent in the quarter. They're going to replicate it, if not increase on that spending by the time we roll around to this time next year.
Yep.
It's going to happen. So you have to ask yourself the question. We are saying the very critical machine that it's going to take to run the country in terms of development at the county level, you've already told them, actually, you know what? This thing, we cannot finance it. But then we see other things happening. You have to ask yourself, where do the priorities lie?
In fact, to understand it, let's muddy the waters just a little more, shall we?
Can I pick 2 callers?
Pick even 3.
Okay. We've got Charles on the line from Nakuru and Rahim holding on in Nairobi. Charles, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed the discussion, and it has been a passion for me. So I would like to really start with the last point you guys were talking about, where we talk of the governor's spending. You know, the Auditor General raised issues of unaccountable spending in the counties. So why should we give them more money when they cannot account for what they already have? And this is a big concern. It's not only this year, even in the past years. This has been an issue with the bosses at the county level not being able to account for that. And then on the largest part, I kind of follow up international issues and issues of high cost of living is a big concern, not only in Kenya.
Yep.
Currently, we are talking about Morocco, people rioting, they need, it's an issue, Ghana, South Africa, everywhere. So this is not only special to Kenya. It's just about how do we go about it? What is the government putting in place to ensure that this high cost of living at least is managed properly? And as you have mentioned, when you see lack of priority, it's true. The government should now start putting priorities right. We are talking of prioritizing issues that are not at all going to support the issue of high cost of living. But at the other side of the coin, I see that this government, the last government and this government, the year was ending in a difficult situation worldwide. So they picked up from where it was a bit getting worse, and it continued as time goes by. And at what level do we hold a government accountable, a new government accountable? How long should they be in power for us to evaluate their performance?
Right.
We read the other day that they are performing poorly. But what made them perform poorly?
What do you think, Charles? Let me ask you that question. You actually just assumed that we're polling you. Do you think the country is headed in the right direction?
Yes, I think the country is headed in the right direction, though slow, but I feel they did not have that capacity to miss some milestone. How many months have they been in government? Is that even in my own household? How long will I be able to achieve a certain activity or get it done based on this economic situation that I'm in now?
Okay, question number 2. We cannot really judge their performance yet, but we can judge. Do you think they have their priorities right?
I don't think they have their priorities right.
Okay.
One thing, let me just say, you cannot put in government CSS, PSS, who cannot think in a problem-solving situation. Like, you put somebody who has no knowledge of what they should be doing to be accountable for an office, and everybody will be employing somebody they prefer, not with the capacity to run a ministry. So when you lack this, you mentioned that they have no clue what is going on with the common man. It's because they have no knowledge. They cannot develop a solution to the problem they find. They just play around with politics.
Thank you, Charles.
So to me, this is a big concern.
Asante. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Thank you for calling. Linda in Vihiga.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I would like to make a contribution regarding what's going on with government. And number one, I would like Kenyans as a Kenyan, I would like Kenyans to understand that the economic situation is not unique to Kenyans alone. This is a worldwide problem. In the U.S., right now they're buying gas at $3 a barrel when it was below $1 before. So it is not unique to Kenyans, and what the government needs to do is to make the burden bearable. Number two, with regard to who should be held accountable, I don't know why we have left the governors and the county government to operate without accountability. For example, what plans does the governor have for Vihiga County or for any other county for that matter? Because so many things have been devolved to the county levels. Now, what is the government doing about health, that is affordable health? If they are not able to pay doctors on time, they are not able to pay the medical staff on time, how do we hold them accountable? The monies every year, some counties return monies to treasury. Some counties overspend the money or the budget to the money, and there's no accountability at all. Why are we focusing on the government and holding the president accountable for something that the governors should do in their counties for their citizens? Because this thing begins from us, the citizens. Then, number three, I would like to say that with regard to funding, government cannot continue giving funds which are not utilized properly. I want to bring another angle of universities. Right now, universities are demanding for more funding. If they are not able to use the funds they have currently, how does the government add them more funds when they cannot account for the funds that they have with the mismanagement that is going on left, right, and center? So we need to rethink the debate. I will not say the cabinet secretaries are not knowledgeable, because the government has just been here for only 6 months. We don't expect miracles from these guys. I know we are used to the usual cabinet names that we've been hearing. So when we hear those names, we think we are safe. These guys are new, but if we give them time, I believe they are going to deliver. Thank you.
Linda, is the country heading in the right direction?
The country, I have hope we will get there. I'm giving this government a year or two. Next year, I believe we'll be in the right direction.
And by this government, are you talking about the 48 governments or just the one national government?
I'm talking about the national government, but for the county governments, they need to perform better and be accountable to the citizens. The president cannot plan for the county government. The president plans for the national issues. But these guys in the counties, they should be able to give us their plans, their strategic plans, which they have for the citizens, because many services have been devolved to counties.
Asante. Thank you, Linda. Rahim in Nairobi, good morning.
Good morning, Situation Room.
Morning to you.
We deserve the leaders that we have, and what we are going through is exactly what we signed up for when we consistently re-elected these people. Yeah, you cannot tell us that. You cannot tell me that we refused to elect Peter Kenneth back in 2013, and then we continue over and over re-electing people who have shown that they are big on talk, small on action. Yeah, you do not pay debts by prayer and prayer rallies. You pay debts by paying them. Yeah, so we deserve the leaders that we have. And this country is not going in the right direction. And maybe what we are going through right now, the high cost of living, is what we deserve right now, and what we need right now for us to finally come back to our senses. Maybe in the next election cycle or after that, so that we can bring the right kind of people back into power.
Thank you, Rahim. Asante. Have a lovely day. Karanja in Meru, good morning.
Good morning to you, Eric.
How are you?
How are you doing? I'm well.
Very well.
And
Thank
you
you for calling.
Thank you. Now, to start with the issues of county, yeah?
Yes.
Eric, my question is, why should we have a county that only rely with the national government for their survival?
Mm-hmm.
Because these counties have shown us clearly that they have no ability to generate revenue through their own means. For example, Eric, northern part of Kenya is a region well known for cattle keeping. Have you ever heard or seen any governor from that region marketing the cattle product from that region to other states like Middle East? The second issue, Eric, Why should we have a county with a governor with his own fundings? And in the same county, we do have an MP with the CDF, and MCAs are also given other money like ward fund. Eric, what we are the main problem we're having as Kenyans is misplaced priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Karanja. Let's hear from Charles in Homa Bay. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
We're fine, thank you.
First of all, let me start by saying, if our county government can take the course of Homa Bay County, Migori County, and Kisii County, then I'll say we are heading in the right direction. If all the county governments can do that, checking for the ghost workers. Right now in Homa Bay County, the Homa Bay Referral Hospital was making 4 million a month. That was in the past government. But right now it's making 20 million a month. Meaning there are some things that were messed up by that time that the current government is working on. Second of all, I'd like to advise my president. Let us not give positions in terms of thanking people who supported us. For example, the internal security position, that person does not deserve that post. Let us focus on how we can deliver.
Why do you say so?
Why? I'm saying so because there is too much talking and PR than the work that is going on the ground. It took the president to intervene. That is now we have hope that we'll see some changes about the bandits. But the CS was just talking too much. You can't tell me a CS is coming to a place and is still in that place and something is happening that he's trying to condone. It means you're not working.
Okay.
There should be an effect.
Okay. It should be felt.
Yes.
Charles, thank you.
And then let me add this.
Okay.
Right now, we talk about whistleblowing. Something is cooking somewhere, then after some months or a year, something blows up. Let us try scrutinizing and blocking the holes that money is being spent on or money is being looted. There is money in this government that can survive, that can enable Kenyans to survive. Let us not add taxes. We add taxes and someone always spends it or someone takes it to his or her account. There is money in Kenya that can help us survive, but we've not find a way that can tap on that money and use it in a good way.
Thank you.
Because someone somewhere is using the money wrongly.
Thank you, Charles.
Thank you.
Good day. Dennis in Nairobi.
Yes, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, I just want to be very brief on this.
Yes.
You see, I stay in Bakati East, and you can easily point out what CDF can do on the ground. You can come here and I'll tell you this one Babu Wino made, this what, but I can't tell you what Sakaja's ever did here. I can't tell you what Sonko did here. So, in fact, we should rethink this issue of county governments. There's nothing they're doing. They're only employing their spouses and their girlfriends, and it's a thing that I don't understand it. That money should be channeled to CDF. I can tell you right now, CDF bursary has been given out, but the governors are only driving big cars around and scaring people with their securities. Why are we really giving them money? Why are they taxing us? They should tell us why they are taxing people. Why are they taking their money? Where? I don't understand.
Thank you, Dennis.
Eric, where you live. I really don't know where you live. But can you point what your governor has done? Very few people can do that. Let's be truthful to ourselves.
So you're saying devolution is not working?
It's not working, Eric. It is not working.
We should scrap it.
It should be scrapped as soon as yesterday.
All right,
yes,
Dennis.
and we should. And my second point, I want to advise
we've run out of time. Thank you very much. Thank you for calling.
Okay. Thank you.
Asante sana. He says his devolution thing. What is it anyway?
There goes.
Back to the top. However, can we also account for the 3 trillion shillings that's spent at the national level? There is the accounting. 300 billion is spent in 3 months on meetings and flowers and vehicle repairs and travel.
Last week there was an article that told us that whatever budget had been for the whole year has been spent in 7 months.
So it's been spent.
Done. Dusted. Spent.
Well, keep it here for more conversations. Those who are watching us on KTN Home, Asante Sana, you can switch over to SpiceFM. The conversation continues. Or you can log on to YouTube. We are live streaming the show on YouTube, SpiceFM Kenya, and on Facebook as well, SpiceFM Kenya. Keep it here for more conversations. Good morning. It's now 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Leah Obaga. The National Youth Service will today hold its pass-out parade ceremony at the Gilgil Training Academy in Nakuru County. President William Ruto is expected to preside over the event that will see a new cluster of graduates earn their certifications after undergoing a 6-month training. They are also trained in various skills including engineering, fashion and design, business management, catering, agriculture, secretarial, plant operation and construction. With the service having undergone a transformation since 2013, the number of recruits has increased to close to 30,000 annually. Roads and Transportation CS Kipchumba Murkomen and his departmental secretaries will today appear before the Senate Standing Committee on Roads. The meeting will see Kipchumba deliberate on the standard gauge railway line contracts, Nairobi Expressway and Kenya Ports Authority issues. A Makueni man who survived a hyena attack 3 years ago has died following another attack by an elephant. The incident has highlighted the bad situation of human wildlife in the county. Angry residents draped the victim's body in the national flag and prevented the police from collecting it for hours to protest the lackluster response by the Kenya Wildlife Service wardens to the wild animals menace in the region bordering Tsavo East National Park. Farmers in the region have reported increased attacks and destruction of crops and properties by elephants in recent months. 7 officers of the Kakamega County Assembly have been temporarily suspended to allow an investigation into the saga of the loss of 85 million shillings in the Assembly. The Speaker of the Parliament, David Namasi, says the move was made to ensure that there is accountability of public resources among parliamentary staff.
We requested that the executive gives us their internal audit to come and audit for us. Where did that 85 million go? Because it was given by the control of budget, we received it here, but that money cannot be traced anywhere. That's one of the reasons why we called the governor to give us the internal audit to come and see and tell us where this money is. Because the officers concerned were not giving plausible answers.
It is the end of the road for over 1,500 irregularly hired and non-existent workers who have been gobbling up millions in salaries in Kitui County. The County Human Resource Audit and Rationalization Committee has recommended that salaries for 935 ghost workers and 592 irregularly hired workers be stopped. The committee, chaired by human resource expert Florence Minde, also stated that since 2017, the Kitui County wage bill has ballooned exponentially from 2.6 billion shillings to 4 billion shillings in 2022. A man has been sentenced to 10 years in prison or a fine of 10 million shillings after he vandalized a 100 kVA transformer and supplied the oil to a hotel owner for cooking. The accomplice of Zachary Mwangi, Elijah Mwangi, who operated the hotel at Olkalau Trading Center, was also jailed for 2 years or fined 200,000 shillings for selling potato chips cooked using transformer oil. The two were arrested in December 2021 after Kenya Power Security Team raided their premises and found 11 litres of transformer oil that was used to fry chips at the hotel and also repackaged as popcorn cooking oil. A 2-month-old baby has gone missing in Luanda constituency, Vihiga County, since last Saturday. The mother claims that her child was kidnapped by a woman whom they'd hosted for a night. She's called on police officers to hasten investigations into the kidnapping incident.
Aliniambia ametoka Siaya, sasa nimeishia kwa barabara na nafaa ende Busia saa 100. Mimi nikamwambia karibu, nikarudi kwa jikoni kupika. Nikaongeza hapo tu maji kwa sufuria ili pia apate kaugali ya kule. Nikafululiza kwenda kuleta omena ya lunch. Sasa nikaenda, nimejua tu nimeacha mtu mzuri kwa nyumba. Nikarudi nikapata mtoto wangu alikuwa ameenda kucheza mkubwa miaka 5. Kurudi nikapata wanacheza hapa. Nikaambia Dan, wewe acha kupiga kelele, mtoto analala utamwamsha. Yeye akaniambia mtoto hayuko. Nikamwambia mtoto ameenda wapi? Mimi sijui.
And finally, more than half of the world's population will be classed as obese or overweight by 2035 if action is not taken. According to the World Obesity Federation, more than 4 billion people will be affected, with rates rising fastest among children. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
We're seeing the last of traffic on the Thika Superhighway. It's coming in through Survey out towards the Pangani underpass, and a little bit on Kiambu Road, which is coming to an end as you approach Muthaiga Square. All right, there it is, folks, coming out of Kitisuru and then connecting with Limuru Road all the way from the Village Market out towards the Aga Khan Hospital. Limuru Road is not looking too bad right about now. It looks okay coming out of Westlands. James Gishuru and whatever traffic was there earlier seems to have come to an end as well. So traffic hour has ended more or less. We still keeping an eye on things. Jogo Road has in and outbound traffic. It's moving, so we're not too alarmed about that. Coming off Mombasa Road, you should be all right getting towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabouts and then into the city. Keep an eye on things. Still, let's take a look at about 9:30 and see what's happening with traffic. But we're getting into the weekend. All right.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room.
7 after 9.
The only way to start your day.
Of The Situation Room this week. The first week of March.
It's okay.
Shortly, it'll be like it's the first day of the weekend already. Today is Friday, the 3rd of March, 2023. Tomorrow is Saturday, the 4th of March. Tomorrow is World Obesity Day, celebrated worldwide. And we want to have a conversation about obesity in Kenya. We have two guests who joined us in the studio. Odawa Vivian Akinyi is a radiographer and a champion for healthy living. And Stephen Tanui is a strategy and development manager at Wellness for Greatness Kenya. Good morning.
Good morning.
Karibuni sana to The Situation Room. Those are the hot seats of Kenya's biggest conversation. It's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about obesity. You'll, of course, explain to us what all that is, and you'll be telling us about wellness and greatness and championing for healthy living and all. But let's start with a proverb from Uganda. CT?
Yes, the whole of this week, our proverbs have been from the country of Uganda. This is our final day. And the proverb is a really simple one, simple, straightforward. A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish.
A foolish person shouldn't make you foolish. Vivian, what do you understand that proverb to be telling us?
Wow, a foolish person
shouldn't make you foolish.
Shouldn't make you
Meaning, let them be foolish on their own.
Meaning I have a choice.
Yes.
To be foolish or not.
Foolishness shouldn't be contagious.
Yes.
That's a good one as well. Foolishness should not be contagious. Is that what the Ugandans were saying, do you think, Stephen?
I believe so. Only good traits should be contagious, bad traits shouldn't be contagious.
Pick only the good traits.
You know, whenever people are referred to as foolish, people think it's an insult. It's actually not an insult. It's a description. A foolish person is somebody who has consistently shown an inability to make good judgment. When your decision-making process, for instance, you know that in the village there's what you call the village gossip or the village wag, and then you go and confide in them your deepest secrets. Now, surely, who are you going to blame when the whole village knows this thing that you thought was private? So, if someone refers to you as foolish, it'll be appropriate because your judgment is a little off.
And that's an insult, but it's a descriptive, but it's foolish.
Yes, it's descriptive, yes.
But it shouldn't define you in terms of you can be foolish and sometimes you can now make the right decision. So it shouldn't be like a tag that you have. You're just foolish.
So foolishness is not permanent.
Yes.
One would hope.
Okay, let's dive into the conversation about obesity, and let's start by understanding what you do and where you come from. Vivian, you're a champion for healthy living and you're a radiographer. What's a champion for healthy living?
A champion for healthy living. I have a history. I know where I'm coming from with weight issues. I was tiny initially, then got babies, and I kept on ballooning, and there's this thing you say, it's in the family because everyone is big. Everyone, my dad is big, my mom is big, my siblings are big, until at some point I realized, like, no, something needs to happen, and something needed to be done. By then now I was weighing 123 kg. Yes. So since then, I've seen a change in even the self-esteem which people thought you.
Those
really
who can't
had.
see you now, can't really tell. So how different is it today? So how?
What does 123 kg represent in terms of body mass and optics?
It really depends now on your height, since BMI is measured as a ratio of height and weight and height. So it depends on your height.
So you're 143 and you decided I need to change.
123. Yes.
You 123 rather. And
Eric, just give you 20, yes,
extra,
so that you can.
So far I've lost
margin of error.
30.
Bonus.
So far you've lost 30.
30 kg, yes.
And this is within a period of how long?
Around 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a target?
Yes, I do.
So when you say now you're a champion for healthy living, now you're bringing in the health aspect into the conversation that you've raised, which is about weight. Okay. So what is it about the weight that you had and the health that you had?
The weight that I had, actually, I couldn't even do the stairs easily. I'm a lecturer by profession, so anytime my students told me they're on first floor, I would ask them to go and look for a class on ground floor. You cannot get your clothes. Shoes was an issue. I had to go for wide-fitting shoes, which you have to look for shops. I think many shops will actually ask you to leave your number. They'll call you, they never call. So you end up, you can get the clothes, and the clothes you have to tailor them. You know, there's nothing as painful as going to look for clothes, and the person who's selling looks at you and they're like, Mama, size yako huwa hatuna. Na hata kama iko, huwa ziko booked na ni zinaenda. And if you get one, you'll have to pay for it. So you get into a shop and someone looks at you and like, oh, are you sure? Unatafuta yako. you feel so bad, but you can't talk. So one day it hit me when my last born daughter, who's 14, I'm a mother of 3 daughters. One died 1 year, 10 months ago. So the last one says, Mom is fat. Have you ever seen parents when they're coming to school? I think you're fat out of all those parents. So her sister was like, that is mean. That is mean. Yeah, let her go to the gym. Let her do something.
Wow.
And I looked at my daughter and I'm like, wow, okay. Okay. Because she speaks her mind. And my little girl was like, no, you can't tell Mom that. That is mean. She's like, no, let her do something. She doesn't look nice. And actually, it's not what I really wanted. I also felt like I didn't look okay. You know, when people look at you, oh, you're fat. Yeah, one time I went up country and someone looks at me, so you still maintain the big body.
That is not a greeting.
It means you're being taken care of well. And it hurt me. It hurt me, yeah. So when I talk of championing, this journey shouldn't be painful. And you shouldn't be like you're denying yourself things, like I'm not going to do this, I cannot eat this. It's supposed to be something that you're actually enjoying. Yeah, so how it started, just from social media, the way people post. There's a lady called Linda. So Linda would post and I would look at it and I'm like, So one morning during the COVID time, I was supposed to be on duty. It was my week. So I wake up in the morning and I'm looking at my clothes and I can't get something. I'm not finding something really to put on. So I went to the scale and I realized I'm 123. I said, wow. So funnily enough, Linda posts on her WhatsApp status. And I quickly text her. I'm like, is there a gym open? She says, yes, there's one. And she sends me the number to Mr. Oluchiri. And I called him and he told me, you come dressed to work out. And I'm like, no, I want us to talk. He's like, no, just come, let's start. So I went and Stephen remembers that day because I went with my daughter and I tried. I'm like, what are these people doing aerobics? I mean, what is all this? So I went back home and I have a good friend of mine, Mr. Hawala Sam. He calls himself Salt and Pepper. So he was not around the country, so I sent a text and I'm like, I'm from the gym. Because we had this conversation and he kept on like, have you done this? Have you tried walking? Have you tried exercising? Have you tried food portioning? Then it's like, my sister, you know what to do. So when I came back, he said, you know what, I wanted you to make the first move. So here we are. Now, you want to go to the gym, but how are you going? Do you have a target? So he sent me to go and write, and he said, yes, now we want to look at what you eat. You're going to eat everything, but in moderation and timed. You can't just be eating anytime you want. So when people say, no, I'll not eat chapati, for me, Saturdays, for me, it's chapati. I would still, it's not supposed to be something like I'm punishing myself.
Punishment.
Yes. So that's how I started, and kidogo, I look at my weight and it's going 3 kgs down. I look again, 5 kgs down. That's how the journey started.
Just from managing your food?
Managing my food. Managing my food and exercising. I exercise to an extent, like if I have to travel, the first thing that is going to determine where I'm going to stay, the hotel, is a gym. If I go to Mombasa, I know I have 2. There's one in the middle of town, Legacy. I'll go there and I'll make sure my hotel is somewhere near. I remember I was in Kakamega one day and I woke up in the morning at 5 and I'm like, I need to work out. Then I went to Google and I see this one and Masinde Muliro. So I call and they tell me, you're open. I drove myself there.
So that's a journey that you've been, and that's why you're saying you're a champion for healthy living.
Yes.
Stephen, you work for Wellness for Greatness Kenya. What's that?
Wellness for Greatness Kenya is a non-profit registered as an NGO in Kenya, and we focus on promoting physical activity, consumption of healthy diets, and also NCD health literacy. So Vivian's story really reflects what our organization is all about, because obesity is something that is not really considered a disease. here in Kenya and also in sub-Saharan Africa. In the Western world, it's considered a chronic disease because it's really difficult to manage it. And as she rightly put it, sometimes the roots of obesity are issues like genetics, because 40 to 70% of your chances of getting obesity is actually in your genetics. So the root causes are varied. It's not just physical inactivity and eating unhealthy diets. It's something that's really varied, and the World Obesity Federation started the World Obesity Day so that we can change perspectives and talk about obesity, so that all this stigma that surrounds obesity can be talked about, and policymakers and the society can take a societal approach in trying to resolve the issue of obesity.
Stephen, can you look at someone and tell that they're obese?
Not necessarily. People would like to see that and relate appearance to obesity, but it's much more complex based on the root causes that causes obesity. But BMI, which is actually the most used method to classify weight categories, is reliable. But other researchers are using other tools such as waist circumference, the ratio of waist circumference to the height. It's something that's currently being researched, but BMI is the most widely used method. Yes.
So when do things, just looking at the progression, for us to have an understanding, when do things start, when do the alarm bells, start going off?
As Vivian put it, it's actually really apparent that you're leading an unhealthy life. Even if you've not acquired obesity, there's some issues that you have, there's some health issues that you have that can relate, just like climbing the stairs, your strength, your endurance in terms of just walking and things like that. It becomes really difficult to just live. So it becomes really apparent when that now translates to your weight gain. And once it advances, obesity is actually the biggest risk factor to most non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and some cancers. So eventually, it becomes a problem, and we can trace this to the time that we are children, because at that time we can't really relate physical activity and healthy eating to diseases. That's something I have a personal experience on, because when I was younger, you can't really relate that doing PE or eating healthy can one day help you not acquire some non-communicable diseases. This is something that Wellness for Greatness is trying to change, because our programs are geared towards schools. Once children understand that physical activity and healthy diets have a health component to it, they can be able to form lifelong behaviors that can take them into adulthood.
This journey, how does one start from being normal-bodied, if I may use such a term, and what are these habits that they acquire? I'm being granular here, that then gets you, because you don't put on weight in a day. Because that putting on weight is what leads to this obesity. So what are these things that one does? What are the contributing factors to this situation that gradually gets you to this position where now you actually have a health problem?
So I could classify that into two, because there are controllable factors and there are uncontrollable factors. Like I said before, genetics is nothing that it's not something that we can control. But controllable factors include physical activity and on the flip side, physical inactivity. So now when you're physically inactive, just as an example, it happens a lot in urban areas. You wake up in the morning, you get into your car, which is a few steps away from your house. You go to work, you come, sit down. You go for lunch just nearby. You come back, sit down. And then in the evening, you go back to your car and you go home. It's really surprising that you might find out that you have not even achieved 100 steps in just that full day, just as an example. So this physical inactivity and sedentary behavior, sitting down and watching the screen, playing video games, or even at work, you're just sitting down, looking at your computer screen. Such habits now come and take a toll because it's gradual. And it also relates to now eating unhealthy. Because probably at work, now you'll order junk food from KFC and you eat. And this now takes a toll at home. In your fridge, you have carbonated drinks, you have processed foods. Just a combination of these controllable factors. If you change and start living a healthy life, your chances of getting obesity and overweight are actually really less.
Are you saying in a traditional setting where movement involved walking, so you're going to exercise whether you like it or not, economic activities involved physical exercise, that in these societies obesity did not exist?
Obesity was actually really, really less. If you look at the statistics, even going by the 1975 numbers, obesity was not an issue that affected a lot of people. But it's really growing because of urbanization. People in the rural areas they still do economic activities that are physical. They walk a lot and exercise a lot, which is actually incidental. Not necessarily that they're working out, but it's incidental. But in urban areas, the rate of obesity and overweight is skyrocketing, and this translates now to non-communicable diseases. Like we are seeing that cancer is becoming a huge problem. Diabetes is also becoming a huge problem, hypertension, all those issues. I'm sure even from our own personal experience, we can relate to someone in my family has high blood pressure, someone in my family has diabetes, something that's really common, but we really shun it in terms of looking at the root causes.
You know what is strange about non-communicable diseases? You will find that some of the places with some of the highest numbers of rates are actually counties that you could consider predominantly rural, not even urban. Just statistics.
Yes.
So perhaps the issue of lifestyle that you mentioned comes to the fore, but then diet. Mm-hmm. How is it that if one is in a rural setting, which predominantly in this country is a farming setup, how does the diet change? Because if you live in a rural area, you're likely to be eating what people have been eating for the longest possible time.
It's actually a really tricky issue and very complex because, as you've rightly put it, for example, diabetes, one of the highest rates of diabetes in the country is in Garissa County. Not really necessarily an urban area, but I would really trace it to the kinds of foods that they eat. Because if you go to Garissa, I've never been there, but I'm sure you won't see obesity as an issue in terms of appearances. But because of the diet that they take, probably something that should be researched on.
You know, the thing about research is that research seeks to respond to specific questions that perhaps don't have an adequate answer. And so it's specific, okay? Now, this matter of healthy living vis-a-vis obesity, it's something that is a dominant conversation in very, very many quarters. And probably because non-communicable diseases are now, at a point even in this country, competing very favorably with communicable diseases.
Yes.
So all these discussions take place. Now, what I want to understand is, how do you communicate to someone at a very early age that certain habits, certain ways of doing things will ensure that the predisposition that the opposite will provide is eliminated, so that even as you get on in life, all these problems that we are now speaking about and which we're having a conversation about now can be reduced, if not eliminated, if one thinks and then in so thinking does certain things to ensure that these things are not started.
Yes, it's a problem that, like I said, from my own personal experience, you really can't relate. So, Wellness for Greatness, we have a number of programs that address these issues. We have a program known as a CATCH, Coordinated Approach to Child Health, and we focus on the PE lesson as a method of reaching out to kids and enabling them to understand that there's a correlation between physical activity and healthy living. Let's not put it as non-communicable, it's just healthy living. And we are working with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development to adapt these curriculum materials to the school system. And what it does is that it helps foster a mindset that healthy living is something that they can adopt, and it can help their school performance and very mental health, very many other issues that are good for them.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is that if one focuses on diets that are related to urban areas, fast foods, okay?
Yes.
Processed foods.
Yes.
That these are things that one should perhaps not necessarily avoid, but one should consume in moderation.
Yes, they should actually reduce that. In the coordinated approach to child health, one of the methods that we use is we have 3 sets of foods. We have the go foods. These are foods that you should eat in plenty. We have the war foods. These are foods that you should not really eat in plenty, just in moderation, rightly as you have put it.
May I want to talk about these ones which you must eat in plenty?
The go foods.
The go foods.
These ones which are, yes, in motion.
And so the go foods should be whole grain foods. They should be fresh foods, I'm sure, and they should be cooked well. Vegetables and fruits, and they should also be cooked well, because one of the things that we noticed is that you are eating healthy food, but you're putting too much cooking oil, or you're using ingredients that eventually make that healthy food unhealthy.
You don't even have to ask, at what point is cooking oil too much? I mean,
it really depends, but I'm sure while you're cooking, you would know. Even when you go to a hotel and it has too much cooking oil, you would know that the amount that you're supposed to take as a
umejaza mafuta.
Umejaza mafuta.
No, there's a converse, hii mafuta haijatosha. Sioni mafuta kwa hii kitu.
Chakula imepikwaje?
Yes.
But it's a general conversation that we should be interested in what we take into our body. So asking yourself such questions, how much cooking oil?
Fruits, whole grain.
Yes.
What is whole grain?
These are grains like maize, like beans.
But at what point is it whole and at what point is it not whole?
If it hasn't undergone any form of processing.
Okay. If it is ground, that's processing. So, or we should eat it as githeri, because then, apart from cooking, it's exactly as it was.
Nyoyo is good.
Yes.
Ugali not so good.
Yes.
There's terminology that one reads and hears about very often, but the definition of it. You will go to a supermarket and you'll be told this is whole meal bread.
Yes.
So when they tell me that, what am I supposed to expect is in that bread, which is not in other non-whole meal breads?
Yes.
I mean, I'm asking. The reason why I ask is because, for instance, if you spent time in your childhood as in the rural areas, as like some of us did, what you ate actually came from the farm more or less on a daily basis. You didn't go to buy vegetables; they were there. As for the ugali, there was a process of grinding the maize that you had. I mean, this process is something you saw. So this maize, which was ground and then ended up in the pot, that's whole meal.
Yes, that's whole meal.
But then if it's that healthy, then why is it then that what we consume is not this? And is it, okay, it's an economic question I'm asking, or a commercial question, but would it not be profitable to sell or this? Because if you tell me it is sifted maize, beyond grinding or grounding, it has gone through another process, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. So
it really depends if you've done it in a posho mill where there are no chemical industrial processing. Yes.
So that is preferred.
That is preferred. But based on government regulation in terms of food policies, they should indicate clearly the kind of contents every processed food has.
That one is tricky. They can write anything. How do you determine that? That one, I think this one
something that has been done in the Western world, and something.
If they are caught having lied.
How often have we had people being caught? In the Western world, we understand. There are consumer bodies that actually do this and they determine, and they will catch you here.
See? Because of the awareness of the consumer.
Awareness of the consumer.
And this is why Stephen is talking about, if we are aware as consumers, and if I get what you're saying, if we are aware as consumers that, we go for this kind of foods, we reduce on the processed foods, and even when you're going for processed foods, we find out what exactly is the ingredient of this food that I'm eating, then we apply pressure upwards, towards the processors, towards the enforcers of laws and all.
It's actually a food systems issue, because you have to trace back where your food comes from. Even in the market, you should be careful, because some of these healthy foods, quote unquote, have undergone some form of processing in terms of chemicals used. So you should be more aware in terms of what you're taking inside your body, and this is something that we can also advocate the government to be more vigilant on.
Let's take a break on that note. 27 minutes to 10. Stephen Tanui is a strategy and development manager at Wellness for Greatness Kenya, and Vivian Akinyi-Odawa is a radiographer and a champion for health living. We are talking about obesity in Kenya. Tomorrow is World Obesity Day. Is obesity a problem in this country? Stephen says, yes, it is. Is it considered a disease in Kenya? Well, officially, no. Policy, no. It's just one of those issues. And we need to think about that. Let's talk about that when we come back out of this break. Remember, when you think of flying better. Think of, lying flat when you're on a plane. Not just sitting and trying to tilt your head with that capillo. No, just lie flat. Get some covers. Cover yourself. If you're flying Emirates first class or business class, you get all that. From the lounge, onto the flight, off the flight. The kind of treatment that you get is what you should always go for. Fly better with Emirates.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I have a brother. He was a pilot. He was laid off. He came to a policeman. He messed up.
He went from a pilot to a policeman.
Exactly.
He stole a jet.
Yeah.
In fact, you should be lucky he was not court-martialed.
The Spice Drive. Big hair and the biggest hits from the best decade.
Indeed, it's all about hashtag Spice Drive, hashtag Quatch, KWACH, 3 to 7 in the PM.
The Spice Drive, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Damn.
Fly Emirates first and business class and look forward to a journey that's as incredible as your destination. Start your holiday with delicious fine dining, impeccable service, and comfort that's out of this world. Sip drinks in our A380 onboard lounge on flights from Dubai and beyond. Watch a movie and drift into a restful sleep in flatbed seats. Treat yourself to Emirates first and business class. Fly Emirates. Fly better.
Sunny conditions at 21 in Nairobi, highs of 28. It's going to cloud over through Friday. We'll see highs of 28 as well in a sunny Nakuru. And it's 18 and sunny in Nyeri, highs of 28 and lows of 14. 19 and sunny in Eldoret, highs of 26. And we'll see highs of 32 in a mostly sunny Mombasa. It's going to go to highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 29. And at 23, mostly sunny in Kisumu, highs of 28. 28 will also be the high in Kakamega, where it's sunny at 20. Rain continues in Kampala at 20, highs of 26, and we'll see highs of 32 in a mostly sunny Dar es Salaam at 28. It's 18 and sunny in Joburg, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 33 in a mostly cloudy Lagos. Mostly sunny at 23 in Kinshasa, highs of 33. It's going to go to highs of 19 today in Beijing, and highs of 9 in a cloudy Paris, and we'll see highs of 8 in a cloudy London, and it's clear at 4 in New York. Coming into Friday, we'll see highs of 7 and lows of 3.
This is 00 Direct, woman host, music by women, and only women guests.
Everything is so larger than life. You kind of have to have a good understanding of who you are. You could easily lose yourself.
We have a global approach in the programs that we put together, meaning that it's not just about refining my business, it's about refining the industry, it's about touching the youth and making sure that in totality, change actually happens.
Catch 00 Direct every Saturday from 10 a.m.
Only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, traffic hour already comes to a close early today. We'll look at Jogo Road, which is a little bit of it still here and there, and then going in towards Lunga Lunga and then into the CBD. The Thika Superhighway, just a little bit of traffic past the Utali Drift. But apart from that, out of traffic hour, Friday doesn't look too bad. Or we're looking at outbound traffic from Nairobi. But for now, we look okay. Through the morning, talk to us on SpiceFM KE on Twitter.
Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Leah Umaga. Commercial banks are running out of dollars on some days following a shortage of the US currency, making it difficult for manufacturers and general goods importers to meet their obligations. The Central Bank of Kenya has directed commercial banks to raise dollars following a shortage of the currency and the race to protect reserves. A number of currency traders and importers say banks have imposed a daily cap on dollar purchases of as little as $5,000 as farms struggle to obtain adequate forex to meet their supply needs. This has forced industrialists to start seeking dollars daily and from several lenders for their monthly hard currency needs, as the shortage puts a strain on supply relations and their ability to negotiate favorable prices in spot markets. Safaricom has rolled out an ATM vicinity check technology that will help banks ensure that cash withdrawals can only be conducted if the transacting customer is within the vicinity of the machine. The solution, to be offered to commercial banks for free, is aimed at arresting the rising cases of banking fraud where criminals use their victims' cards or information to withdraw funds from ATM points. There are several ways through which criminals steal funds from cash machines, including cloning ATM cards, trapping the cards at the machines, and collecting information on the cards. Rattan Direct and Lifestyle Furniture is looking for a supply chain planner with a business degree or supply chain related qualifications with at least 3 years of supply chain experience. Suitable candidates are required to send their CVs and cover letter by 8th March 2023. Visit jobs.digger.co.ke for more information on this and other jobs. Digger Jobs, your credible and trusted jobs partner.
Spice FM Business.
Spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
20 minutes with Vivian Akinyi-Odawa. She's a champion for healthy living, and Stephen Tanui, who is from Wellness for Greatness Kenya. We're talking about obesity in Kenya. Obesity is a big problem globally. Tomorrow is World Obesity Day, where we discuss very many issues about obesity. Just first of all, it's about creating awareness and then talking about what to do to get out of this. Are there people who, from your experience, Vivian, who talk about obesity, or do we talk about just weight? And of course, when you just think about your weight, you can't just admit, I'm obese.
No, I really want to talk about obesity. People talk about, I am overweight, my weight is big, I'm fat. When people are referring to you, they'll say that a fat person, or yeah.
Now, very many people, when they go and they do the BMI test and all, and it comes, with within your weight, your overweight, that obesity, does it raise alarm bells? Or is it something that people just look at and say, okay, well, this is it, so maybe I can manage it, I can get better? Or does it mean, okay, I have even beyond overweight?
From experience, since the time I used to check my weight and all that, you'll be told you're obese, but then it doesn't bother you, so long as you wonder, like, okay, now what am I supposed to do about it? And like I said, my usual answer would be like, it runs in the family, yes, and as long as I can get clothes, what is the problem? And I remember I would joke around and say, as long as my vitenges can fit well. And of course, I'll go from village people, and they'll do for the Nigerians who will do for you very nice fitting. And of course, you tell them, make sure there's an allowance so that if
just in case.
Yes, and trust me, we used to go. I'll still go back and open the map, and until there's a time, there's a lady who was doing my clothes. I wore, and she told me, now I'm giving you a warning.
I am not adjusting this dress
fabric
anymore.
I've used it for your 2 clothes, so if you dare get fat, don't come back. Yeah, so when you talk about obesity, for majority of us, it doesn't mean anything until now it raises an alarm where you find maybe somebody you know has an issue, then you sit down and think. And this whole weight issue, again, it depends, it comes back to you. Once you are aware, then you wake up. When it hits you well, then you wake up and make a move. And people need to be advised. It's good to check these things early. When you see there's an alarm, something that can raise an alarm, just start doing it. Without being pushed, so that you live a healthy life.
When you started making the changes, you started making changes, you felt something different. What were those significant things that you say, okay, I've done this for some time and I can see that there's actually a change. I've done the other thing and I can see that, I feel like my dress size coming down a couple of numbers. What are some of those things that you then saw?
The first thing, initially I was thinking like it's just about exercising, but then I realized it's about eating right and eating in portions. You just don't go and like right now we want to go and do nyama and we are eating everything we want. What I changed that now when I started seeing the change was just the food. Initially in 2015 I started going to the gym. By then I was weighing 115. I went up to 100. Then I stopped going to the gym. I was like, is it a must? I go, and there's this thing about as women, you go to the gym and you're told to do this and you're like, apana, give me some other exercise. You don't want to cooperate with the trainer. So in this weight loss journey, you need to work with your trainer, work with someone who guides you on nutrition. And again, you have to also be willing to do things right. Of course, now at times we say there's this cheat day. So you end up, once you start today, tomorrow it's a thing. The next week you do twice. And so for me, where I started seeing the change completely was when I adjusted my eating habits. And of course, now joined together with the working out.
So is health here being considered to be someone who is free of diseases? Because somebody can have more fat than is considered good, but they are not unwell. There's no underlying ailment. There's nothing. Now, would you consider such a person to be healthy? This is what both of you can answer.
Well, if you're not living a healthy life, you wouldn't consider to be healthy because there are a lot of non-communicable diseases that are just at your door knocking.
Well, they've been knocking, yes, or they're probably giving me a shout that they're on their way, but they haven't quite arrived. This is the question I'm asking, because if somebody has more fat than the body actually needs or is considered healthy, and yet they're not hypertensive, they're not diabetic, so...
But there are some indicators that will show that you're unhealthy. You would climb the stairs and punch. You won't have any strength. There are just some indicators that you yourself, that's personal too.
I'm actually going with this hypothetical situation where those aren't even a problem.
Yes.
They climb stairs, they don't pant,
But they are what? They are overweight?
Yes, there's more. You see...
Or they are obese, but they don't have any of these issues.
You see, when people look at obesity and overweight, and they are synonymous, it's one of the same thing. And then it is associated with either disease that are on their way or disease that you already have. And I'm saying, to understand this matter better, if I have fat in my body that I don't need, but I do not have any disease, I am not hypertensive, I walk up the stairs okay, these things that people keep talking about, I don't have. So
you won't really get it until it hits you. That's all I can say about that.
It's a silent killer.
It's a silent killer.
Is there a definition for healthy?
This is part of the question that I'm asking. Yes, because...
What is healthy?
Yes.
Is it not sick?
Being free from disease.
Okay, then let me ask it differently. Can I be obese and thin?
Obese and thin? Based on BMI, no.
You see, body muscle is denser than fat. So if I have body mass, based on the muscles that I have, or the building of it, I can actually look thin, look slim, and yet I am obese.
Oh, that's correct. Because people, let's say, who lift a lot of weight, sometimes they might have higher weight and they're compared to the height BMI would classify them as either overweight or obese.
You know this height thing? Yeah?
It's a
height thing. It's a thing because here, if you're vertically challenged, you have a problem. Okay,
you're condemned.
Yes. If your center of gravity is a little low.
Actually, let's speak of it, Stephen. What is BMI exactly?
BMI is a kg per meter squared.
What should the best ratio be?
Sorry?
Kg per meter squared.
Yes, your weight compared to your height.
Kg per meter square kg.
So your weight over your height.
Your weight over your height.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we say that is the body mass index, why is it important that your weight matches your height? Why is it important?
It's a distribution issue.
There's this much your bones can hold.
Okay. Can the bones be heavy?
Yes, the bones
because you can have yes your weight, blah blah, but all this weight, like City is saying, it's coming from your muscle.
You can be big bone.
Your bone
density.
But you're a short person.
But mostly it's classified as a male and female. It's different in terms of it's standard in terms of being a man and being a woman.
You know this. Do what's on your mind?
I mean, look, I'm just saying that. For a lot of these things, you as an individual, you would then be able to feel if there was something that was going off, isn't it? And so I think that also certain times, if you do start working out, everybody who started working out and gone to the gym and started to build muscle, you realize that you can actually be heavier. But here we are also saying that, are you saying that you could be classified as obese because of the density of your muscle? However, if they ran everything, they would find that in comparison, you're still okay.
Yes. BMI is only used as an indicator, but once you visit a healthcare practitioner, it can be classified in terms of if you have a healthy weight or if you don't have a healthy weight.
You know, if you ask me, the battlefield here is being determined really by what we traditionally understand to be obesity, what we traditionally understand to be healthy, the optics of it, vis-a-vis the reality of what it is that ought to be the case. Because there is, for instance, a myth that people who are slim of body, essentially you're ectomorphic. The way God created you can try very hard to put on weight, but you're not really going to put on weight in the traditional sense of the word. So if you have such a structure, it is assumed that you may not be predisposed to some of these non-communicable diseases. So you hear people remark and say, but you know, that person couldn't have had a heart attack. You know, he was really slim.
Yeah, he's a slim guy.
Yeah, but it's how we view and what we believe and what we accept. How do we get people to understand that the traditional way in which we associate size and health, or what we consider diet and health, and the realities? How do you explain these things? Because in getting to ask someone to live healthy, lose weight, this is really what you're fighting with.
Yes.
Because if you come from a community where a big body is considered good, man, you're going to be hard pressed to tell me I should not be big-bodied.
Yes. Vivian was getting those compliments.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And she goes, I'm like,
all right.
Ndugu yetu anafanya kazi.
There are very many misconceptions associated with this conversation, and this is something that we want to change, and that's why we emphasize on early intervention, trying to inculcate those issues on children so that they understand that it's not necessarily when you become big is when you're unhealthy. It's just working out and eating healthy. It's just something good for your life. In terms of the science, this is something that we can work on in terms of explaining to using age-appropriate language. But it's something that I believe it's been scientifically proven that healthy diets and physical activity has a correlation to being healthy.
Okay, now, healthy living, traditional food, traditional living, yes. Now, are we therefore saying that all traditional foods were good, that they were all healthy?
Most were good, since they were cooked well and they did not have any additions, and also they were fresh from the farm.
All those things were boiled, not cooked.
But in terms of the cholesterol levels or the bad fat that it brings to the body, it wasn't really.
And then you talk about bad fats, you've opened a completely new discussion.
Here we are. In terms of unlearning some of these habits that, obviously have taken time to learn, and then, if you're looking at having compounded over, did it take you longer, Vivian, I'm not sure that you are measuring the time that you progressed, but then did it take you longer than it did to get where you were, to get out of where you had reached?
When I gave birth to my firstborn, that is, she's turning 20 tomorrow, I was around 75 kg. I delivered and I was still the same weight. But you see, there's this thing you want to eat for maziwa, yeah?
Of course.
To get, yes. And there's that njahi thing, and I remember my husband used to boil a lot of bones and take the soup. I started ballooning. But I was comfortable. Then I got my second born in 2007. Again, after delivery, baby fat doesn't go. I ballooned in 2009 again. I got my third born, went back to the same weight. I don't know what happened. At some point, again, I ballooned. And now it keeps just coming without you realizing. You keep on changing clothes. They come, they new, you go buy, something is fitting, and you continue adding the weight without realizing. Then now, between when I started, that was on 24th September 2020. That's when I changed and started walking this weight loss journey. So far, I've done 30 kgs. But it's not easy, because at times you add like 2 kg, 3 kg, you come, you reduce,
and
you
you're
go
still
down.
working out.
You're
You're
still
working
working
out, and then
and
you
you're
go
still-
and weigh yourself, and you've added
You've added
kilos.
weight.
Yes.
What is this?
Okay.
What an syllabus.
And that is one thing that I think really makes people feel like, why should I work out? I remember in 2015 when I started going to the gym, I was like, no. And I went to the trainer and I'm like, why am I adding weight? And I stopped going. And I still balloon. Now, that time I was 100. I'd lost from 115 to 100. I still now went back until now I reached the 123 kg.
But Vivian, there's something about age. As you age, hormones change, metabolism changes. So even as you eat, the way your body deals with the food, what it does with it, all these things are a factor.
True.
Plus happiness level.
Yes,
You've
definitely.
started a
And
family,
happiness level
you're
with
looking at your
yourself also.
babies, you're happy.
I remember when I turned 40. When I turned 40, someone sent me a text and she was like, now, remember your hormones are not going to cooperate with this, so forget about weight loss.
Pass.
Forget about weight loss. I remember just the other day she sent me a text and she's like, I want to lose weight. What's changed? What's changed?
There's a question that Lalji is asking. Can stress lead to obesity? He says, I find when I'm under stress, I get sugar pangs.
Yes. Your stress levels and your mental health, and even sometimes the medication that is recommended can make you gain a lot of weight and become either live with obesity or overweight.
There's a very direct relationship between stress and your immune system. Very direct. And there's something that is called comfort eating. Okay? You don't eat huge amounts of food, but you eat continuously. Okay? Now, part of the problems we may have as Africans is we have always been fairly comfortable with our body sizes. It's in the West where they have really issues where you need to be a proper size, you need to be the size of a broomstick, that sort of thing. Okay? Now, we but associating body size and look and considering health, I think there is no we like using the word silver bullet, but it has to be a continuous conversation, because just the diversity of human beings and everything that they represent, and the places they come from, the things that their bodies are used to, the genetics, all these things really are a genuine conversation. So even as one has this discussion, one has to consider the pertinent realities that people have to deal with when you're talking about healthy living, weight, obesity. Yes.
And where people are coming from.
Yes.
We want to thank you. Yes, you have your final comment.
Also, this year, the World Obesity Day theme is changing perspectives. Let's talk about obesity. And I'm really happy that we have started this conversation here. And I thank you very much for inviting us.
People have asked, how can I get in touch with the Wellness for Greatness?
So we have our website, www.wellnessforgreatness.org. And we are also in social media, Facebook, Wellness for Greatness, Instagram, Wellness for Greatness, and Twitter, Wellness for Greatness.
How much to join?
Yes.
How much to join?
How much? We are an NGO, so we don't charge.
So just to interact with you?
Just to interact with us. And if you want us to do any work in your community, we can have that discussion and come up with projects that we can do. Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us today, and asanteni sana for all the information that you've shared, and congratulations on your weight loss journey and everything. You're looking good.
Thank you.
Even you too. The people who are not watching, they can see that we have healthy people in the studio. Thank you very much for joining us. Vivian Akinyi-Odawa is a radiographer. She's also a champion for health living. Stephen Tanui is from Wellness for Greatness Kenya.